Chapter 191. Feng Poliu recognized right away that they were from 9 Bug Gang. Don't ask why he was so sure. That was because their clothes were already exposed. 9 Bug Gang's clothes were all the same. Looking at them, they seemed to be members of the 9 Bug Gang assassination team. Don't misunderstand. We are just passing by. How can we be your target? Feng Poliu was stunned. What was going on? They could even stop when they passed each other on horseback. Also, their conversation sounded weird. It felt like they were the person they were looking for. Why do they have so many feelings? Just go home and sleep. Do you think we are blind? What is that on his shoulder? The male's voice was really cold. Did this masked fellow really think they were blind? Feng Poliu was stunned. He looked at 9 Demon who was standing on Lin Fan's shoulder, its 9 heads spinning. Those 18 eyes were lost like they were saying, "What?" He nearly smacked his head in rage. Aya, what was going on? He actually forgot about such an important person. If he had known this would happen, he would have just placed 9 Demon into the cloth bag, and there wouldn't have been so much trouble. Lin Fan smiled. So you aren't just a feeling. I really have a feeling towards you. That feeling let me know that you are the people I am looking for. Could he stop bragging? Feng Poliu just wanted to ask that. They were wearing the 9 Bug Gang uniform. So what did he feel? Didn't he see it with his eyes? Let's change places and play with you. Lin Fan pointed at the small forest in the distance. Some things were only interesting in the small forest. He didn't wait for them to agree, leading the horse and walking into the forest. 9 Bug Gang assassination team's goal was to investigate the Jiang City matter and then find the 9 Bug Gang treasure. Now that the treasure was right in front of them, naturally, they wouldn't let it go. Lin Fan's arrogance made the 9 Bug Gang assassination team members furious. Rage points plus 333. Rage points plus 444. The 6 experts exchanged glances with one another. Let's go. They thought that they had to rush, but who knew that they would bump into them halfway? They were really lucky. However, they didn't dare to be careless. Feng Poliu was helpless. We were exposed too quickly. We haven't even reached Fuzhou, and 9 Bug Gang assassination team noticed. Luckily, there aren't many people, but who knows if there aren't 9 Bug Gang people hiding among the commoners. Perhaps they weren't here for Lin Fan. Most of them hid among the commoners and used their identities to gather more information. He really didn't expect that 9 Demon would be discovered. Just by standing on his shoulder, only a blind man would be able to see him. The grove was quiet. The 6 members of the assassination group followed behind, their eyes filled with malicious intent. The way he looked at Lin Fan and the other 2 was as though he was looking at 3 naked girls. It seemed to be saying, let's go to the grove and have some fun. Lin Fan turned around and said, "Hey, hurry up, don't dawdle." The 6 members of the assassination group were furious. How could they be so arrogant? When Lin Fan and the others just entered the small forest, the 6 people of the assassination group couldn't wait to take action. Insect Shadow Hand. The leader growled and leaped up. He stretched out his arms, and 2 black insect arms flew out from his sleeves. These insect arms were made of insects and formed into palms that grabbed towards Lin Fan. Wherever the black insect arms flew past, the vegetation would gradually wither. It was highly toxic. "Are you so eager?" Lin Fan exclaimed. He refreshed his stats, bug controlling technique at max completion. He stood there and didn't move. The gray internal strength turned into numerous threads that covered his body. Just as the black insect arms were about to sweep in front of him, he reached out, and the black insect arms stopped in front of him. Insects aren't played like this. Let me tell you how to play with them. This is the true way to play with them. Lin Fan clenched his fingers, and the gray internal strength injected into the black insect arms. Those insects seemed to have tasted a delicacy and started to swell up. They became even more vicious. The black insect arms that were originally as thick as a human's arm instantly swelled up. Ow! I can't control them. The leader was shocked. He hollered and wanted to control these insects, but they didn't react at all like they had broken off their connection with him. Lin Fan smiled. "Do you know why you can't control them? Because you are too weak." "What?" The leader was filled with disbelief. What the heck? This was really going to happen. Lin Fan raised his arm and then placed it down. "Feel your own insects." The arm formed by the insect spun and changed direction, rushing towards the opponent at an extremely fast speed. No! The leader wanted to run, but he couldn't. His pupils constricted as the aura of death covered his body. In an instant, the insect arms covered the man. It was a black patch, and one couldn't see what was going on inside. Screams exploded out. That was a roar of despair. However, that sound was just too short. The insects fell from his body. When all of them fell to the ground, all that was left was a black corpse. Not a single bit of flesh and blood was on it. Young Master Lin, let's not use bug controlling technique. It isn't good. Feng Poliu said helplessly. Why didn't they listen to him? Bug controlling techniques, internal strength, suppressed 9 bug gangs bug controlling technique. It was normal that he couldn't control the insects. The remaining 5 members looked at Lin Fan in terror. They didn't expect such a thing to happen. Too quick. It was just too quick, and they weren't able to react at all. They retreated in fear, and cold sweat dripped down. Who are you? Their methods were too familiar. It was similar to their 9 bug gangs' methods, but more overbearing. The moment they made their move, they felt the insects that they had been carefully nurturing move, as if they were being led by the other party. Don't be afraid. I have no bad intentions towards you. It is just that your 9 bug gang keeps finding trouble with me, so I have no choice. I can only kill all of you to be safe. Lin Fan stepped forwards, his feet landed on the ground. The gray internal strength was like a python, sweeping along the ground. Leave. Leave. We don't know where these people came from. Let's inform gang leader. They knew that they couldn't win, but it was all too late. The moment they turned around, the bugs hidden on their bodies revolted. Under the buff of the gray internal strength, they became stronger and more terrifying, instantly swallowing them. The 9-headed bug was excited. The 9 ferocious heads became even more irascible when they saw this. But very quickly, a palm landed on the 9-headed bug's head, slowly coiling around. Don't be impulsive, listen to me. Hayes, you should just chop them to death. Why did you have to use the bug controlling technique? I don't understand how you cultivated it. Without decades, one wouldn't be able to reach such a stage, or rather, one wouldn't be able to reach such a stage. Feng Poliu really didn't understand how this fellow did it. It was shocking. Lin Fan smiled. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. They like to play with bugs, so I just played with them. As for how I cultivated, that is a complicated question. Do you believe in geniuses? Does it mean that I can instantly learn any cultivation method I get my hands on? Forget it. Don't say it. Just treat it like I didn't ask anything. Feng Poliu waved his hands and didn't want to ask anything. How was there such a person? Even if he was beaten to death, he wouldn't believe that there was such a person. What a waste. These few fellows could have gained some rage points, but he had no choice as he had to rush. He didn't have time to talk nonsense with them, so he could only send them to the heavens. Feng Poliu said, Zhong Mao, dig a hole to bury these corpses. If people notice, they will see the problem. It won't be good for us. These are just 9 bug gangs assassination group. They aren't much. If experts are drawn over, it won't be good for us at all. Zhong Mao looked at Cousin. He was waiting for Cousin to agree. When people said things to him, he would treat it as a fart. Unless Cousin said that he could smell it, then he would take the initiative to smell it. Bury them. Lin Fan nodded his head and then looked towards Feng Poliu. What you said makes sense. With our current strength, we can't beat 9 bug gang. But I'm not in a rush. Let's take it slow. If I knew, I would have given you an activity. Didn't you want to know whether or not 9 bug gang left Insect Valley? Although Feng Poliu didn't mention the situation in Insect Valley. He felt that Insect Valley wasn't in a good state. Even if they sealed the valley, they couldn't just leave them alone, right? There were only 2 possibilities. One was that 9 bug gang didn't leave. The other was that Insect Valley suffered a huge blow and didn't have time to bother about 9 bug gang. To him, the second possibility was more likely. Let's not worry about all this. We're close to Fuzhou. You have a hide 9 demon. If not, once we are within Fuzhou and haven't entered the city, 9 bug gang might surround us. Feng Poliu said. He really didn't expect that he actually forgot about this fellow. What was 9 bug gang searching for? Wasn't it that thing? He actually placed it on his shoulder. They were just asking to die. Lin Fan nodded his head. He didn't need to be careful. Very quickly, Zhou Zhongmao buried the corpses. Lin Fan pretended to be calm as he rode his horse out of the small forest. He smiled at the commoners on the official road. Like he was saying, "We didn't do anything. Don't think so much. Nothing really happened." As for those few people, their stomachs hurt and they found a hidden place to shit. There was no need to wait for them. They wouldn't come out. Lin Fan and the others left. Outside the small forest, there were only 6 horses waiting there in a daze. Why isn't our master out? When he passed the river, there were fishermen fishing. He spent some money to buy a bamboo basket to store fish. He placed the 9-headed bug in and covered it. From the outside, one could only see that there was something inside, but one couldn't see what it was. Zhou Zhongmao carried the basket on his back. His wariness was at its peak. As he got close to Fuzhou, he felt really uneasy. P.S. Thank you. The names here can be made up of 12 words. Tan Yun Yun, Space Violent Bear, is the white water. Chapter 192. They were about to get close to Fuzhou. Lin Fan exclaimed. As expected from a huge city, even the nearby cities were really prosperous. Jiang City and Yu City combined couldn't compare to them. Not to mention, before they even reached Fuzhou, just the official roads outside of Fuzhou were like heaven and earth. Just one look and one knew that they weren't commoners. These are disciples from various sects and are usually active in the cities around Fuzhou. Let's be low profile and not attract attention. Feng Poliu said. There were many sects in the world and many powers. To them, a city like Rivertown was like a countryside, and they rarely went there. Do you think Fuzhou is managed by the imperial dynasty? Lin Fan asked. Feng Poliu said, on the surface it is, but in truth it isn't. 9 Bug Gang is really strong in Fuzhou and has totally controlled it. Even if the officials from the imperial dynasty go there, they're just decorations. Fuzhou was different from Jiang City. Jiang City's officials were far away and were controlled by the local rich families. As for Fuzhou, 9 Bug Gang was too strong and the officials were controlled too. But maybe to give face to the imperial dynasty, 9 Bug Gang allowed officials to handle cases here. But as long as it concerned 9 Bug Gang, those officials had no power at all. Is the imperial dynasty so cowardly? Lin Fan exclaimed. A country actually allowed 9 Bug Gang to do what they wanted. What were they afraid of? Feng Poliu said, it isn't that they are cowardly, but they worry too much. Some things aren't as simple as they think. It is really complicated. How is it so easy to clear it out? Lin Fan didn't agree with what Feng Poliu said. In my eyes, it is due to the weak and strong. If they were really strong, they could just sweep over and wipe out 9 Bug Gang in one night. His words made sense, but to Feng Poliu, it was like a joke. Young Master Lin, are you kidding me? Lin Fan saw Feng Poliu's expression and smiled calmly. In the end, no one understood him. There was nothing in the world that couldn't be solved. When there were people who didn't dare to move and felt that it would affect things, it wasn't that they were strong, but that they were too weak and thought too much. Scram. All of you scram. At that moment, someone scolded from behind. Along with that was the sound of horse hooves. Lin Fan and the others stepped aside. The caravan sped away. One of the carriages was piled high with boxes and tied up with a rope net. What is 9 Bug Gang doing? Feng Poliu looked at the carriages in confusion. Who cares about what they are doing? Come, let's follow them and kill them on the way. Lin Fan followed them impatiently. They were still a distance away from Fuzhou. 2 days was more than enough. Hey, don't be rash. Feng Poliu chased. My dear young Master Lin, why are you so impulsive? Can't we just go peacefully? He followed Lin Fan to Fuzhou. He didn't really want Lin Fan to be rash and wipe out 9 Bug Gang. He wanted to bring him to see 9 Bug Gang's strength locally. If he knew that he couldn't beat them, he would leave calmly and not think about so many unrealistic things. However, judging from the current situation, that was clearly not the case. He really wanted to make a move. Was he really that powerful? At night, in the forest about 200 li away from Fuzhou, 9 Bug Gang's carriages were resting here and arranging for people to be on the lookout. Towards 9 Bug Gang's confidence, They didn't think that anyone would dare to attack here. However, they still had to do what they had to do. Pay attention and look around. Don't move alone. The person who spoke carried 2 blades on his back and stared coldly at everyone. Yes, everyone replied. Suddenly, the sound of horse hooves spread out from the distance. Who? Zhou Chaos Hen placed his hands on his blade and looked around with a sharp gaze. The people around got up and locked onto the depths of the darkness. Using the moonlight, they noticed that someone was getting close. Zhou Chaos Hen hollered, 9 Bug Gang is doing things. If you don't want to die, then scram. Slowly, the sound of horse hooves got closer and closer. Zhou Chaoshen's face turned darker and darker. Did he not care about what he said? Come. He pulled out the blades on his back and held them in his hands. He stared at the person getting close. If you dare to get close, you will die. Zhou Chaos Hen raged. The other 9 Bug Gang members all took out their weapons. They didn't believe that anyone dared to stop 9 Bug Gang's goods here unless they were sick of living. Release the signal. Zhou Chaos Hen said softly. Is there a need? The gang members asked. Zhou Chaos Hen said coldly. They know that we are from 9 Bug Gang and still dare to come. They're either fools or confident. I believe that they are confident, so naturally they aren't weak. Just in case, release the signal and let the surrounding divisions send people over. His words made sense. The gang members took out something that looked like a firecracker and pulled a string at the end. With a pung, fireworks rose into the sky. In the dark sky, it formed a multicolored bug. It didn't dissipate for a long time and lasted for a long time. Feng Poliu raised his head and said, This is 9 Bug Gang's signal. Let's leave. If not, when they come, it will be problematic. We can make it. We have enough time. Lin Fan said. Very quickly, when Lin Fan and the others appeared in front of them, Zhou Chaos Hen noticed that there were only 3 of them and was shocked. He said with an unfriendly tone, Who are you? Just 3 people dared to get close to them. There was a problem. There was definitely a problem. We aren't anyone. We just want to kill you and stop your goods. Lin Fan smiled. His calm expression made Zhou Chaos Hen and the others furious. Rage points plus 555. Rage points plus 444. We are from 9 Bug Gang. We're transporting 9 Bug Gang's goods. If you dare to stop us, you won't be able to leave Fuzhou. If you know your place and scram, we can act like we don't know you. But if you insist, then you will bear the consequences. Zhou Chaos Hen didn't attack, like he was delaying time and waiting for reinforcements to arrive. Stalling for time, Lin Fan laughed. Then, his expression turned serious. Kill! He came to Fuzhou from so far away to slowly wipe out 9 Bug Gang. Moreover, from what he heard and saw recently, he noticed that 9 Bug Gang people weren't good people. They wouldn't show mercy when they killed. He didn't care so much, he just had to kill. Kill! Zhou Chaos Hen hollered in rage. He held his blade and struck towards Lin Fan. The gang members behind him roared in rage. Black Dragon Blade Technique. He hollered. The blades in his hands were slowly dyed black. This was caused by special internal strength exploding out. A fierce aura burned on the blade. Pung! Lin Fan raised his hand, the blade in his hand blocking his attack. Who are you? Zhou Chaos Hen hollered. He definitely wasn't a nameless person. To be able to block his Black Dragon Blade technique so easily, he had seen many people, but he had never seen this guy in front of him. He hollered. The black internal strength formed into a vicious python that wanted to swallow Lin Fan. However, Lin Fan's body gave off strong fluctuations such that he was unable to get any closer. You talk a little too much. Lin Fan's lips curled into a grin as he jerked his arm slightly. Instantly, a massive amount of power burst forth and pushed the other party away. Your blade technique is too weak. Try mine. Lin Fan hollered. He held the blade with both arms and opened his legs. He tilted his body and slashed. A crescent blade, energy exploded. And Zhou Chaoshen's expression changed. That blade was just too quick. He raised his hands, and the blades merged together to block in front of him. Poochie! Everything happened too quickly. That blade broke his blades and also slashed his body. He didn't even react at all. As expected, I am really strong. Maybe only Master Realm can fight me. Lin Fan exclaimed. The feeling of becoming stronger felt really good. When he faced enemies, he basically didn't need to speak much. He also didn't need to tire himself out from fighting them. Why didn't he feel in the past? Maybe this was why a greenhouse would make one so weak. Zhou Chaos-En didn't understand even when he died. How could he be killed so easily? He didn't even know who the enemy was. The other 9 Bug Gang leaders were dealt with by Cousin and Feng Poliu. The gang members who died to Feng Poliu were blessed. Those who died to Zhou Zhongmao were really tragic. None of them had a complete corpse. In Cousin's words, he didn't know whether or not they were dead, so it was better to kill them. Even if they didn't die, they wouldn't be able to hold on. Young Master Lin, let's go. Feng Poliu rushed. Lin Fan walked in front of the carriage and opened the net. He smashed the lock and opened the box. He noticed that there were treasures inside. Even at night, there was a bright glow. Oh my God, how much silver is this? He didn't dare to imagine. He had never seen so much money in his life. From this, one could see how shocking 9 Bug Gang's wealth was. Cousin, pull the carriage and let's go. Lin Fan said. He wanted to wait here for 9 Bug Gang's reinforcements to arrive, but forget it. Who dared to guarantee that there wouldn't be experts among the reinforcements? He didn't want to be surrounded by experts before he even did anything. That would be a huge loss of face. Young Master Lin, we can't bring the silver away. Feng Poliu was helpless. He definitely couldn't bring the silver away. Unless he went back the way he came, there would be a chance. If not, there was no chance. Don't you like to gamble? There are so many treasures. Just a little is enough for you to fight for months. Lin Fan wouldn't leave the treasures behind. Since he noticed it, even if he couldn't bring it back, he wouldn't let 9 Bug Gang find it. Feng Poliu retorted, I was comprehending life. How could I like to gamble? Lying through his teeth, even Lin Fan felt embarrassed for him. Before he left his name and also a handsome portrait for 9 Bug Gang. Feng Poliu was stunned by Lin Fan's actions. What was he doing? Wasn't it dangerous enough? To Lin Fan, if he didn't know who he was, would he have rage points? Chapter 193. After a long while, ahead, it is just ahead, a huge group rushed over. They were members of the 9 Bug Gang division. When they saw the signal, they came right away. Naturally, they needed a lot of time to get here. What a thick stench of blood. The leader frowned. His hair was white, his eyebrows were white, and even his face was terrifyingly white. Even the white-browed Eagle King had to exclaim in front of him. He was even whiter than him. The man was the person in charge of the division. When he saw the signal from the headquarters, he personally brought people to support. But looking at the situation, it was too late. When the 9 Bug Gang people saw the situation, their eyes opened wide. This was just too tragic. Who did it to actually be even more vicious than their 9 Bug Gang? There weren't many complete corpses. The rest were split up in pieces, and it was tough to piece them all back together. White Demon walked in front of a corpse, his fingers pressed against his nose. He took in a deep breath, and it was obvious that he couldn't accept it. His corpse was split into 2. This corpse was definitely done by Lin Fan. From the blood on his face, he recognized who it was. A deputy hall head from the headquarters. He was in charge of transporting the silver back to the headquarters. There were only some horses there. As for the carriage that transported the silver, it had disappeared. Something is going to happen. White Demon muttered. His face was dark and sunken. If something happened in the area he was in charge of, he wouldn't be able to answer. Which bastard did it? If he found out, he would torture him to death. Suddenly, White Demon noticed a portrait at the side. He picked it up, and on it was a face. He was certain that he had never seen the person on it. Then, he saw the name left on the tree. Lin Fan. White Demon was thinking about where did this person come from to dare to behave so arrogantly in 9 Bug Gang's territory. Moreover, he actually killed the deputy hall head in the territory he was in charge of and stole the silver. Obviously, he was extremely daring. Sect leader, there are traces of the carriage wheels rolling over here. They went in that direction. One of the members surveyed the surroundings and shouted after discovering the clues. That's right. Chase, we have to get the silver back. White Demon said fiercely. Such a thing hadn't happened in a long time. Now that it suddenly happened, he didn't know what to do. White Demon and the others followed the path of the carriage and searched. After a long time, they found the carriage in front of them. Sect leader, the silver is all gone. The sect members stepped forward and opened the chest. It was empty, not even a single tael of silver. White Demon frowned. Who did it? How could he walk so fast with so much silver? He thought of the restless, small forces around him. Something was not right. Those small forces were just trying to survive in the cracks. They didn't have the guts. A few days later, on the huge ship on the Fuzhou River. Oh, you're saying that my wealth was robbed by an unknown person in your territory, and even Zhou Chaosheng was chopped in half by a saber? 9 Bug Gang leader's expression was calm. His tone was calm, but it gave off a chilling cold intent. White Demon knelt on one knee, and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. Gang leader, when I brought people there, it was already over. The carriage with the silver was stolen. He knew that the rage in gang leader's heart was burning. No one dared to offend 9 Bug Gang. Now, not only did someone offend them, but he did it in their territory. That was like slapping 9 Bug Gang's face in front of them. Lin Fan, the 9 Bug Gang leader's fat body, made it hard for him to move. He muttered this name. It was really foreign. He had never heard of such a person. He picked up the portrait. He is a handsome brother. It is good to feed the bugs. Although he was talking about someone else, his words terrified everyone in the room. If one said that the most terrifying person in 9 Bug Gang, it was naturally this gang leader. What a little slut who deserves to die 10,000 times for her crimes. Find her and bring her to me. Remember, if you can't find him in 3 days, I will feed you all to the bugs. Scram. Instantly, the higher-ups in the cabin all backed out. How would they dare to stay here? If the gang leader didn't think it through, he might have really crippled them. The fat gang leader was feeling really sad now. His Suing had left for a long time and hadn't returned. He really missed her. In the past, he was satisfied just looking at her, but now that he couldn't see her for such a long time, he panicked. Gang leader. A devilish girl leaned on his body. The fat was disgusting to others, but she was used to it. She could feel warmth, peace of mind, power, and wealth from the fat. Of course, none of these were important. She actually loved fat the most. The gang leader grabbed the woman's head with his fat and wide hand and pressed it down. Tell me, why doesn't Suing have such a weird feeling towards me? Tell me. No one spoke. There was only moaning. Don't you understand a girl's heart? Why aren't you speaking? Do you think that I'm not a gentleman? Speak, tell me. If you don't speak, then it means that you agree. You really hurt my heart. Pung. Gang leader used too much strength, causing the girl's head to smash into his fat, causing it to explode. Fresh blood scattered all over the ground. Gang leader looked at his hand that was covered in blood and cried. His face was covered in tears. Even if you die, you aren't willing to tell me? Didn't you say that you love my fat? As expected, women don't like fat people. They only like violent men. The guard hiding in the dark. His body trembled. Gang leader was too violent. Moreover, he was sickly violent. Suddenly, the guard in the dark felt like there was someone behind him, but when he looked at where gang leader was, there was no one at all. A drop of sweat fell from his forehead. What was he doing? A dark and terrifying voice spread into his ears. From your heart, I can feel your fear and disgust towards me. Are you disgusted by the fat on my body? Gang, before he said anything, he noticed that gang leader opened his mouth. It was as big as a water tank. 2 rows of sharp teeth were terrifying. Poochie. Fresh blood spurted. From the shadows, one could see that the guard's body was swallowed. There was also water flowing like a fountain. Wow, that is majestic. Lin Fan and the others looked at the scenes in front of them and were shocked. They had never seen such a majestic scene. They had already arrived in Fuzhou, but they didn't enter the city. They stood on the shore and looked at the scenery. That night, Fuzhou was brightly lit, flowers bloomed. The huge Fuzhou looked really beautiful under the light. One couldn't tell that this place was as terrifying as what Fongpoliu said. Especially that giant ship which stopped on the river surface. It was really majestic. Too huge, He didn't know what words to use to describe it. If he had to describe it, it was thousands of miles long. It wasn't many ships connected together, but just one giant ship. It was really majestic and majestic. Fong Poliu is right. 9 Bug Gang is really strong. To be able to have such strength, they definitely weren't weak. But regretfully, I have my eyes on you. Although I can't wipe you out in a short time, targets that I have my eyes on won't have a good ending. Young Master Lin, it is useless even if you bury the silver there. Fong Poliu couldn't understand Lin Fan's actions. Why did he want to leave his name and portrait? Lin Fan wouldn't tell him that while they were talking, he had received a few thousand rage points. Could he tell him that? Lin Fan smiled. Who says it is useless? Once 9 Bug Gang is wiped out, we can dig out the silver. The thought is good, but the reality is cruel. I think the silver will rest here. Fong Poliu said, and then looked at Lin Fan. What do you want to do next? Leave the portrait? Maybe there are people checking at the city gates. Moreover, I don't recommend you to enter. If you're noticed, then you won't be able to leave. I'm not joking. 9 Bug Gang is really strong. Even with me here, we might not be able to retreat safely. Fong Poliu was serious. He wasn't joking. Lin Fan thought about it. I am thinking, don't rush. Fong Poliu totally respected Lin Fan. Since he came to Fuzhou to wipe out 9 Bug Gang, then didn't he think about what to do? Or should he just take it one step at a time? Suddenly, Lin Fan looked towards the shore. There seems to be people fighting there. Fong Poliu looked over. He was used to such things and wasn't surprised. Let's go take a look. Lin Fan rode the horse and headed into the distance. Zhou Zhongmao followed behind. There were many corpses on the shore. It was obvious that both sides were in an intense battle. You dare to attack us. Yang Wu was injured. His gaze was sharp as he stared at 9 Bug Gang in rage. 9 Bug Gang didn't reply to Yang Wu's words and attacked instead. It was obvious that they wanted to kill them here. As a member of the Imperial Dynasty's secret department, Yang Wu had been investigating King Wudong. He found Fuzhou but didn't expect 9 Bug Gang to notice and chase him all the way here. At this moment, a middle-aged man held a sword and covered the wound on his shoulder. He said solemnly, Yang Wu, bring the people and leave. I will open a path for you. After that, the remaining people gathered around Yang Wu. All of them had quite a number of injuries on their bodies. Some of them even had bugs crawling in their flesh and blood. One had to be careful when fighting 9 Bug Gang. Otherwise, it was hard to say that nothing would happen. Sir, leave. We will cover for you. Yang Wu looked around warily. His face was covered in sweat. The situation wasn't good. They couldn't leave at all. Can you all leave? In the darkness, a dark and sunken voice spread out. Instantly, there were screams. Yang Wu looked at his good friend, who suddenly cried out. Who knew when his friend's body was covered in bugs? Instantly, he fell to the ground and was no longer breathing. Only those bugs crawled around in his flesh and blood. Those damn disgusting things that one couldn't defend against. P.S. Recommend a book, Hidden of Nanshan. If you're interested, you could take a look. The author is called Sure One. I usually pronounce it as When Sure. Chapter 194. Zhao Xianghe stared at the person who walked out from the darkness, and his expression changed. 9 Bug Gang, Assassination Team Deputy Ingjiu. At first glance, he recognized this ordinary-looking middle-aged man in front of him. He had a smile on his face, and he was smiling so much that he couldn't even open his eyes. This was the true top expert of 9 Bug Gang. Zhao Xianghe, I let you live in the past, so why did you come and die? Although the Imperial Dynasty is strong, if you die in Fuzhou, no one will take revenge for you. Ingjiu's voice was dark and sunken, totally different from his smile. Ingjiu, do you really want to kill us? Zhao Xianghe knew that he couldn't leave. Ingjiu's appearance cut off their path of survival. It was extremely difficult to escape from his hands. Yang Wu was still in deep thought about the death of his companions. He didn't expect 9 Bug Gang to be such a terrifying existence. He was tasked by the Imperial Dynasty to investigate King Wudong's rebellion. He found out that King Wudong was related to 9 Bug Gang, so he came to take a look. Who knew that before they entered Fuzhou, 9 Bug Gang would kill them? Half of them died, and they weren't their match at all. Even if he revealed his identity as a member of the Imperial Court Secret Department, it would be useless. It was like they wanted them to die. Jio had a smile on his face as he unleashed his inner energy. He took a step forward and punched out. His inner energy condensed into a fist that smashed towards Yang Wu and the others. Zhao Xianghe was shocked. He raised the sword in his hand, and sword energy swept forwards. It clashed with the fist and was shattered. He panicked and held his sword in front of his chest. Pung! The blade bent. Zhao Xianghe's face flushed red. He wasn't in Jio's match at all. He retreated and then spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Is your Imperial Dynasty Secret Department sick? You sent small fries to Fuzhou. Are you looking down on 9 Bug Gang? Do you think we are blind and can't notice your actions? Jio smiled. When they just entered Fuzhou, they already knew their whereabouts. They just didn't attack and wanted to see what these people wanted to do. Zhao Xianghe looked at him. You planted a spy beside us? Ha! Spy. Our 9 Bug Gang doesn't care about such boring methods. If I say that your Imperial Dynasty Secret Department belongs to our 9 Bug Gang, would you believe me? Jio's expression remained unchanged. It was impossible to tell which of his words was true or which was false. Zhao Xianghe didn't say anything else. The other party was trying to obscure his conjecture. There had to be spies within, otherwise, how could 9 Bug Gang be so clear about their movements? Before he even entered Fuzhou, he was intercepted outside. If it wasn't a spy who leaked his tracks, he wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. I'll hold it back later. You guys leave if you can. Zhao Xianghe no longer held any hope. He only hoped that 1 or 2 of them could escape, even if it was just one. Jio said with a smile, don't put up a futile resistance. Do you think they can escape? Yang Wu had never felt that death was such a terrifying thing. It was just that he was too indignant. He was actually betrayed by his own people. Fuzhou was rotten internally. Some officials were taken over and even colluded with 9 Bug Gang. The Imperial Dynasty wouldn't believe these officials. But these officials had other uses. They represented 9 Bug Gang to interact with other city officials to form a giant net of benefits. It greatly affected the interests of the Imperial Dynasty. Okay, it is about time. It is time to send all of you on your way. Zhao Xianghe, in the next life, be more observant and don't be blind. The moment he said this, just as Jio was prepared to attack, he was shocked by the movement around. The snort of the horse stunned both sides. Who came? Lin Fan and the other 2 rode on their horses and looked for a while. Seeing that they attracted attention, they felt a little embarrassed. They definitely scared people. Continue, I'm just passing by. Lin Fan waved his hands and said. Feng Poliu asked him whether or not he needed help. Lin Fan felt that Feng Poliu had too little experience in society. Didn't he see the weapons in their hands? Those who could fight weren't good people. It wasn't good to join in like a lunatic. Who knew? You might even be used by them. Wasn't it good to watch a show? It was fun and exciting. Jio looked at the 3 of them and said coldly, Who are you people? We are here to watch the show. Don't worry about us. Do what you need to do. It has nothing to do with us. Lin Fan said, but saying that was asking for a beating. Who would say such words? As expected, rage points plus 999. Rage points plus 444. Peak rage points appeared. Did that mean that they wanted to kill him? Till now, he didn't understand what the increase in rage points had to do with. Actually, he didn't care. As long as he had it, then nothing was a problem. Zhao Xianghe opened his mouth. 3 good men, we are from the Imperial Dynasty and hope that you can help. In the future, we will thank you. I'm not interested. Lin Fan waved his hands to reject. Those words made one feel uncomfortable. Why did he have to report where he was from? Like when Cousin told the demons that he was his cousin and that his cousin's father was Lin Wani. Did the demons hold back? No. Instead, it became even more intense and terrifying than before. Zhao Xianghe didn't expect that the 3 of them would reject him so quickly. It seemed like they weren't from 9 Bug Gang, but why did they reject him? It wasn't that he hadn't encountered young geniuses in the past, and many of them had drawn their blades to help when they saw injustice on the road. But now, it caused him to be speechless. Deputy Head, We don't know where these people came from. Someone said softly, "Isn't this bullsh asterisk T?" Even they knew that they didn't know where they came from. So how could he not see it? He suddenly realized. Recently, many things happened in Fuzhou. Treasures were stolen. Headsu's whereabouts were unknown. The assassination group members were killed. Even Zhou Chaosheng was sliced in half. Why were there so many things happening? Yang Wu noticed that the guy on the horse was familiar. He then looked at the honest-looking Zhou Zhongmao. He really looked familiar. Suddenly, he remembered. "Brother Lin, is that you?" Yang Wu shouted. "N." Lin Fan looked at Yang Wu. He couldn't remember who this person was. "You are?" He really didn't remember where he had seen him before. Yang Wu wasn't angry. Instead, he tried his best to help Lin Fan recall. "Brother Lin, we met once at the inn. You even helped us burn the map. You said that such an important thing should be destroyed. Since I heard Brother Lin's words, I had a deep feeling about it. And there was such a thing." Lin Fan recalled that such a thing did happen, but he didn't have much of an impression of it. "Yang Wu, I am Yang Wu." Yang Wu patted his chest and wanted Brother Lin to remember who he was. Zhou Zhongmao looked at Yang Wu and then whispered to his cousin, "Cousin, I remember such a person. We met at the inn, and he even attacked King Wudong's men." "Cousin, now that you mention it, I remember. I really can't remember him." Lin Fan nodded his head and slowly recalled. He finally remembered such a person. "Brother Lin, please help us this time. We will definitely repay this kindness." Yang Wu hollered. To them, their only hope was right in front of them. If they missed it, then they wouldn't have another chance. Ing Jio said, "The three of you, don't be a busybody. This is 9 bug gangs matter. If you help, then don't think about leaving this place." "Cousin, he is threatening me." Lin Fan pointed at Ing Jio. He was really annoyed. "Cousin, let me beat him up." Zhou Zhongmao couldn't take it anymore. No matter whether or not he could beat him, as long as cousin was unhappy, he had to raise his fists and fight. Lin Fan stopped his cousin and then jumped up. "Let me take a look." "Come." He pulled out his blade, his muscles swelled, and internal strength injected into the blade. Lightning blade, 4 strokes exploded out. Blade energy pressed forwards, and the dark sky was lit up by the lightning. Very strong. Ing Jio nodded his head. He pressed down with his palms, and energy covered his body. Pung! The blade slashed onto the energy, and it shook slightly. There was no result. "Not bad. Unfortunately, your strength is lacking." Ing Jio praised. "What are you acting for?" After Lin Fan slashed out, he hollered. His physique strengthened a little, and his strength gathered once more. He then slashed out with the strongest blade of the lightning blade, 4 strokes. This blade was even more terrifying than before, and even more shocking. Small tricks. Ing Jio didn't care at all. Energy wrapped around him. He felt like he couldn't be defeated. Pung! When the blade landed, it caused Ing Jio's energy to be a little unstable. Ing Jio was shocked. He directly exploded out with even more terrifying internal strength to break the blade. How amazing! Lin Fan shook his head. He was much stronger than him, but he didn't care. He said towards Feng Poliu, "You fight him, I will find someone else." Avoiding the strong and picking the weak. That was his usual style. If he couldn't beat him, then so be it. Next time when he was stronger, he would take revenge. As for now, he would just find someone weaker than him to bully. Feng Poliu wore a mask, so no one could recognize who he was. He was helpless towards Lin Fan's words, but he had no choice. He could only fight. From the short clash, he could see that Lin Fan had initial Grandmaster cultivation. He was a realm away from him for small realms. Moreover, there was a huge gap between Martial Path Grade 12 and Master Realm. How could it be so easy to cross? You give me a familiar feeling. Ing Jio's smile retracted as he stared right at Feng Poliu. Feng Poliu didn't say anything and attacked right away. How long? The battle between the two of them was not a simple exchange of moves and techniques. Instead, it was an invisible collision of internal energy. "Senior brother, is it you?" Ing Jio transmitted his voice over. He was familiar with his moves and felt like it was the same as the person in his mind. Feng Poliu didn't reply. He felt helpless. He could even recognize him. "My dear junior brother, You are a talent. Senior brother, I am junior brother Yinjiao. Yinjiao transmitted his voice. He noticed that although Lin Fan's attacks were fierce, he held back. Right? He had to be senior brother. Leave, Yinjiao hollered. His body disappeared into the darkness. When the 9 Bug Gang disciples saw that the deputy of the assassination group had fled, they panicked and fled. Lin Fan slashed a 9 Bug Gang member to death. What is going on? It hasn't even started. Chapter 195. Let's go. Don't stay for long in case 9 Bug Gang arrives. Feng Poliu pulled Lin Fan away. Zhao Xianghe felt very embarrassed. He had asked for help, but the other party had ignored him. In the end, it was Yang Wu who had asked for help. Follow me, Zhao Xianghe said. Feng Poliu frowned. Follow you? Where are you going? I have a secret passage that leads into the city. Zhao Xianghe did not give up. He still wanted to enter the city. Feng Poliu looked at him like he was looking at a fool. It was already at such a time, and he still wanted to enter the city. Was his brain kicked by a donkey? Are you really not afraid of death? 9 Bug Gang has seen what you look like, so don't think about moving around in the city. He had to remind these people. Was he really that immature? It was a miracle that he was able to survive until now. He did not have the strength, yet he dared to be so debauched. We have our ways, Zhao Xianghe said. It just so happens that I'm also about to enter the city. Let's go. Lin Fan came to Fuzhou to find 9 Bug Gang. After all this, he realized that 9 Bug Gang was really amazing. He took back what he had said. He needed some time to wipe out 9 Bug Gang, but it wouldn't take too long. He just needed to slow down. Somewhere outside the city wall, seeing that there was no one around, Zhao Xianghe carefully peeled away the soil, revealing a hidden compartment. He then lifted it, and it turned out to be a passageway. When did you dig a tunnel in Fuzhou? Feng Poliu looked at Zhao Xianghe in shock. Unbelievable, really unbelievable. The key was that people from 9 Bug Gang hadn't noticed him. This passageway has existed for a long time. Zhao Xianghe didn't say too much. Some things were meaningless if they were said too much. Moreover, this was the first time he had met these people. Naturally, some things could not be said. Feng Poliu thought about it. It seemed like the Imperial Dynasty wanted to attack 9 Bug Gang. He didn't notice it usually, but they were searching for a chance in the dark. That was true. When he left Insect Valley, 9 Bug Gang didn't dare to be so arrogant. So many years passed, Insect Valley was closed and 9 Bug Gang had no one to manage them. For them to develop to such a stage was shocking. Let's go. Let's get to the city as soon as possible in case someone passes by and discovers this passageway, Zhao Xianghe said. Everyone entered the passageway. The passageway was very spacious, but it was a little dark. However, for those with high cultivation bases, the darkness was not a problem. After walking for a long time, they finally reached their destination. Zhao Xianghe opened the wooden board, and everyone walked out. This was a room, and the entrance to the passage was on the bed. There was no one inside or outside the house. The courtyard was neither too big nor too small. It was obvious that it had been prepared beforehand. Zhao Xianghe made the bed, and after he couldn't see any flaws, he looked at them. 3 good men. Let me introduce myself. I am Zhao Xianghe. I belong to the Imperial Dynasty's secret department and am in charge of investigating the connection between 9 Bug Gang and King Wudong. These people are my men. I didn't expect that. Sigh. Zhao Xianghe was a little sad. There were a total of 12 of them, and in the end, only 4 of them were left. Their losses were heavy. But since he entered the Imperial Dynasty's secret department, he was prepared. 9 Bug Gang is plotting with King Wudong. Feng Poliu asked. As he guessed, he was thinking about whether or not 9 Bug Gang betrayed Insect Valley. Looking at the situation, the possibility was high. We don't know the specifics, so we came to Fuzhou to investigate this. Zhao Xianghe didn't say what he wanted to say, although he was here to investigate how far King Wudong and 9 Bug Gang were. But the key was that the Imperial Dynasty wanted to attack 9 Bug Gang. King Wudong's rebellion wasn't a huge matter, but based on the news he got, 9 Bug Gang was trying to sow discord. They were trying to use King Wudong to achieve their true goal. Zhao Xianghe could see that these people weren't on the same side as 9 Bug Gang. But it was best to hide things. If too many people knew, it would be leaked. He was thinking about something now. Who was the spy? Of course, the spy wasn't one of the 4 remaining. Apart from him and Yang Wu, the other 2 couldn't be either. He personally picked them out. Even if they were, then what awaited them were people from 9 Bug Gang, and not just empty. As for Ing Jiu saying that the secret department higher-ups were spies, he needed to think about it. It was possible. Right, this is a disguised liquid. Rub it on your hands and then on your face. It can change your face shape, but it can only last for a day. If you head out, it is best if you apply it. Zhao Xianghe passed a small bottle to Lin Fan. The sky is dark, so we definitely won't be able to move. Let's find a room to rest. Okay. Lin Fan nodded his head. Entering Fuzhou was half a success. They had to do the rest themselves. Since he couldn't wipe them out, then he had to let them know how helpless the outcome of offending him was. When Lin Fan walked out of the room, Yang Wu followed to thank him for saving him. Zhao Xianghe closed the door. He was thinking about where the 3 of them came from. One of them wore a mask and was the strongest. His background was unknown, so who knew where he came from? As for the remaining 2, he had no idea. Yang Wu seemed to know one of them, so he could ask him later. Within the room, Feng Poliu sighed. Young Master Lin, we shouldn't have come here. Fuzhou is filled with 9 Bug Gang's eyes and ears. It is impossible to do some things, much less wipe them out. It is okay. Since we can't wipe them out, then we can't. We aren't in a rush. Lin Fan was really casual. He wasn't in a rush to do anything huge. Moreover, since he was here, if he turned back now, then wouldn't he have come for nothing? It is best if we don't have too much contact with those people. They seem like people with short lives. Feng Poliu said. Lin Fan blinked. Is that okay? Just one look and you say that they are short-lived. Luckily, they didn't hear it. Otherwise, they would have problems with you. Feng Poliu shook his head and didn't say much. If they hadn't met them, they would have died. He was thinking about something. Why was Junior Brother in 9 Bug Gang? After he left Insect Valley, Junior Brother was still there. After so many years, he actually bumped into him in 9 Bug Gang. I will rest first. Feng Poliu left. He had to go back and think about it. Cousin, you should rest too. Lin Fan said. He released 9 Demon. The little fellow was locked up for so many days and was really tired. He refreshed its stats, fed it the special internal strength of the bug controlling technique to make the 9-headed bug happier. This little thing grew really quickly at the start, but now it was a little slow. He looked at the small support system. Rage points, 20391. A decent number. As expected, he earned it the fastest. The rage points now definitely couldn't raise his cultivation to peak Master Realm, but he could try to see how big the difference was between Master Realm and Martial Path Grade 12. Add points. It consumed a lot. 1 point actually needed 1,000 rage points. Add 1 point to physique. Add 1 point to internal strength. Instantly, something happened to the small support system. His stats changed. Physique, 361. Initial Master. Internal strength, 361. Initial Master. Heart cultivation. Purple Sun Forsaint Scripture, Grade 33. Demon Heart Enforcing Scripture, Grade 10. Cultivation Technique. Vengeful Tiger Blade Technique. Returning to True. Bug Controlling Technique, Basics. Unmovable King Body. Returning to True. Lightning Blade 4 strokes. Returning to True. Mixed Energy Broken Jade Hand. Unlearnt. Demon Ape Fist. Returning to True. Rage points. 18391. He felt a shocking change in his body. 2 internal strength Cs were clashing with his run and do meridians. One of the inner energy came from below the middle pole and flowed through the abdomen up to the guanine, to the throat, to the mouth, to the face, and into the eyes. An extremely cold chi appeared out of nowhere. This was opening up the Ren meridian, opening up the Yin meridian ocean. The other one came from the bottom of his stomach, going up to his feng fu, entering his brain, head, forehead, and nose. An extreme yang fire burned at his body. This was opening up the Du meridian, opening up the Yang meridian ocean. Lin Fan didn't dare to be careless. He sat cross-legged and felt that those scenes were a little scary. He calmed down the two yin and yang energies. The increase in internal strength was much greater than before. He just added a little. He had just entered initial master realm and hadn't stabilized himself, but he was already so strong. As expected, master realm was a huge gap for martial path grade 12. This was like building one's foundations and then unlocking the secrets of the human body to obtain extraordinary strength. When he was prepared to heave a sigh of relief, the changes in his body arrived. It hurts a little. He felt that his flesh and blood were changing. Many green veins appeared on the surface of his skin, like many earthworms were moving in his body. It felt like they were about to explode. With a pong. Damn, it really exploded. All the green veins on his body exploded, but no blood flowed out. Shortly after, something weird happened. Those green veins were reorganizing. It hurt a little. It was really itchy. It was like many ants were crawling on his body. That feeling was torture. How did this happen? When I raised internal strength, it didn't happen like this. Why did it become like this when I raised physique? Or was it really hard to raise physique to master realm? Lin Fan had such a guess and even felt like it was possible. At points, physique, 370, initial master, internal strength, 370, initial master. He really felt the feeling of the internal and external layers. That stimulation was like electricity flowing through his body. Great. So great. Lin Fan laid on the bed, his hands grabbing the sheets. The internal strength change didn't cause much pain, but the increase in physique made him feel like his body was being ripped apart. Damn, I can take it. Mother asterisk cur, it hurts. F asterisk CK me, it hurts. In that short moment, he was covered in sweat. His body was drenched in sweat. Drip, drip. Sweat soaked the sheets. When he raised physique to initial master, his skin and dermis started to change. The epidermis and dermis of his skin were quietly mutating. In modern terms, his skin cells had already evolved. They were resistant to damage, beatings, fire, cold, and were even more resilient. There were many changes that no one knew about. After a long while, the pain disappeared. Lin Fan laid on the bed and panted. His body seemed to have become lighter, like he had improved. I became stronger. P.S. Thank you. Please call me Chun Zhu, Tan Yun Yun, El Tian Tian's Tian. Thank you. Chapter 196. Fuzhou, the giant boat on the river. Ingjiu stood beside the boat and looked at the brightly lit city. He didn't expect that senior brother would appear. Even if people searched for him, they couldn't find any traces of him. Now that he appeared in Fuzhou, what did he want to do? He had already told senior brother everything, but senior brother didn't want to admit it. Actually, he had always wanted to personally ask eldest senior brother if he was the one who killed master. Although the people from Insect Valley had pushed this matter to senior brother, Zhongshou didn't know what to do. But he didn't believe it. That was because he knew that senior brother treated master as a father and wouldn't kill master for the bug controlling technique. Deputy leader, gang leader, is looking for you. A gang member carefully informed. Ingjiu wasn't the deputy gang leader of 9 Bug Gang, but the deputy leader of the assassination squad. 9 Bug Gang didn't have a deputy gang leader. Understood. Ingjiu replied coldly and then walked into the cabin. The gang members heaved a sigh of relief. This was just too terrifying. The deputy leader had failed and was definitely on the verge of exploding in rage. If anyone was blind and made the deputy leader unhappy, they would definitely be killed. He had seen many such things. The next day, Lin Fan woke up early. The air in Fuzhou wasn't good, and he smelled a suppressive smell. Maybe this was the special smell of Fuzhou. Compared to Jiang City and even Yu City, it was much worse. Feng Polio didn't sleep for the entire night. He came to Fuzhou, and for some reason, he felt like he was getting closer and closer to Insect Valley. That feeling was just too magical. He pushed open the door and bumped into Lin Fan. You? He didn't recognize him right away. Who was this fellow? His face seemed to have changed. What you, my cousin and I are going out for a walk. Do you want to go out too? Put something on your face and wear a mask. As long as one isn't blind, they will be able to recognize you right away. Lin Fan said. Sometimes he was thinking about it. Those people who wore masks, weren't they afraid of people recognizing them? I'm not going. Feng Poliu shook his head. He didn't want to walk around Fuzhou. Lin Fan shook his head. This person was so boring. However, when he left, he noticed that Zhao Xianghe and the others were nowhere to be seen. Who knew when they left? It was tough to investigate the connection between Nine Bug Gang and King Wudong in Fuzhou. In the city, Lin Fan and Zhou Zhongmao had changed their appearances, but their physiques hadn't changed. This appearance-changing fluid was really powerful. Just smearing it on the face could cause such a change. This place is really bustling. Looking at his surroundings, Lin Fan sighed in his heart. Nine Bug Gang was indeed an evil power, and they were really vicious. However, one couldn't see any signs of them being suppressed within Fuzhou. Indeed, if Nine Bug Gang messed around in Fuzhou, then this place wouldn't be so prosperous. People would have left long ago and hid far away. There were people gathered in front of him. Many people pointed at the portrait on the wall. He took a closer look. It was actually a portrait of Lin Fan and Zhou Zhongmao. This portrait wasn't the one that Lin Fan had given them, but a new one. It was very similar, and there wasn't much difference. However, how could there be no portraits of Feng Poliu? Cousin, this reward is a little low. We only have 20,000. This Nine Bug Gang really doesn't care about us. Lin Fan exclaimed. He felt slightly regretful. In the end, he still looked down on them. Zhou Zhongmao, on the other hand, did not feel this way. He did not care about money at all. However, if Cousin said that it was little, then it was really little. Fuzhou, Zhizhou Manor. Zhao Xianghe and his men disguised themselves as food delivery men and entered through the back door. The highest leader of the Zhizhou Manor was sent by the imperial dynasty to Fuzhou to monitor the Nine Bug Gang. Usually, they didn't need to contact the imperial dynasty. They could even work with Nine Bug Gang to help them expand their routes. Only then would Nine Bug Gang believe that the people sent by the imperial dynasty were bought over by them. After they entered the mansion, someone led them to another path to leave. Within a hidden room, Sir Wang, Zhao Xianghe cupped his fists and was filled with respect. He had come to Fuzhou for the imperial dynasty for so many years. Wang Ji was the highest leader of the Zhizhou Manor. He was thin and had a mustache. His eyes were small, and just one look made one feel like he wasn't a good person. Over the years, the people who contacted him changed wave after wave. Wang Ji hid really well, and Nine Bug Gang didn't notice anything wrong with him. Sir Zhao. Wang Ji cupped his fists and said, I have waited for a long time. A while ago, King Wudong came to Fuzhou and contacted Nine Bug Gang. As for the exact situation, I don't know. Nine Bug Gang doesn't trust me fully even if I help them build connections with so many aristocratic families. It has been tough on Sir Wang to gather intel in such a dangerous place. Zhao Xianghe was impressed. He was really impressed. He had lived under Nine Bug Gang's eyes for so many years, and danger accompanied him. If he didn't personally feel that pressure, he wouldn't have dared to imagine it. It is okay. The imperial dynasty trusts me, so naturally, I can't let them rely on me. Wang Ji said, right? All of you need to pay attention. Some sects have joined hands with Nine Bug Gang. These sects are really hidden. I learned about it from a hall head when I drank with him. He didn't reveal any more news and just mentioned it briefly. I hope that Sir Zhao can report it to the imperial dynasty to pay attention to the various sections. Zhao Xianghe's expression was solemn. How is that possible? Do those sects want to rebel too? I am not sure, but it is hard to say that the experts in those sects don't want to experience the power of the emperor. Wang Ji said, these things were already complicated. King Wudong's rebellion was just a spark. However, it still managed to blast many people out of their homes. He didn't understand what the emperor was thinking. His brother had already rebelled, so why didn't he suppress it and instead sent them to investigate? Zhao Xianghe and Wang Ji talked for a long while Yang Wu and the others were wary of the situation outside. Sir Wang, I roughly understand the situation. Zhao Xianghe nodded. At the same time, Wang Ji passed the records of Nine Bug Gang's activities to Zhao Xianghe. Goodbye. Wang Ji cupped his fists. Have a good trip. after which Zhao Xianghe and the others were led back the way they came. They turned into farmers and left from the back door. Wang Ji squinted as he looked at the backs of those who left. He smiled and left with his hands behind his back. Living in the center of desire, how many people could hold onto a firm heart that they thought would never change? That night, Brother Lin, we are leaving. How long are you going to stay for? Yang Wu came to say goodbye. Their mission was completed, and they needed to bring the intel back to the imperial dynasty. As such, they couldn't stay here for long. You just came and you want to leave? Didn't you want to investigate 9 Bug Gang and King Wudong? Lin Fan asked. That was just too quick. Yang Wu said, Brother Lin, with our strength, how can we sneak in a 9 Bug Gang? We have spies here, and getting intel is the same as completing the mission. That was the truth. With their strength, they couldn't fight 9 Bug Gang at all. It seemed like he was thinking too much. Okay, have a safe trip. We don't want to leave yet. Lin Fan said. He just came here for a short while and was about to leave. His speed was just too quick. Even if he fired cannons, he wouldn't be so quick. Goodbye. If I have a chance, I will drink with Brother Lin. Yang Wu smiled and left. When he left, he bumped into Feng Poliu. Sniff, sniff. Feng Poliu smelled something bad from Yang Wu's body. What was he doing? Feng Poliu asked. Lin Fan said. He said that he completed the mission and will leave tonight. He said goodbye to me, so I didn't stop him. He strolled around Fuzhou with his cousin for a day. His horizons were broadened, but he didn't see anything that surprised him. I smelled something from his body. Feng Poliu said. He thought about it. It was a long time ago, so I can't remember. 9 Bug Gang within the cabin. Gang leader, our GUN sect really wants to join King Wudong. Please introduce us. The person who spoke was an elder from GUN sect. He brought disciples to Fuzhou to discuss this matter. GUN sect, I have heard of it. But King Wudong doesn't need trash, so are you all trash? The gang leader behind the curtain asked. The disciples who followed the elder out knew that he was insulting them, but they didn't dare to be arrogant. However, they were furious deep down. This was 9 Bug Gang, a terrifying presence. Luneng looked like a middle-aged man and said, Gang leader, our GUN sect is strong, so how can we be trash? Whether or not we are trash isn't something you can say with your mouth. I will give you a task to prove that you aren't trash. Go help me kill some people. The moment he said that, the gang leader gave a dark and sunken laugh. To the GUN sect disciples, the fatty hiding behind was terrifying. Even if they didn't get close, just looking at him from afar made them feel a chill down their spines. Outside of Fuzhou, Zhao Xianghe brought the 3 of them and left swiftly. However, he felt like something wasn't right. However, it was hard to say what wasn't right. It was like everything was going too smoothly. Sir, do you think Sir Wang will live in Fuzhou for a long time and be corrupted by 9 Bug Gang? Yang Wu asked. Zhao Xianghe stared in rage. Impossible. Sir Wang sacrificed himself to stay in Fuzhou for so many years. In the future, you are not allowed to say such things. Yes, sir. Yang Wu lowered his head. The 4 of them rode horses and left Fuzhou. Suddenly, Pucci, a head flew up. With a loud explosion, the person on the horse lost his head and fell to the ground. Everything happened too quickly. Everyone couldn't react at all. Who? Zhao Xianghe was shocked. What was going on? Who revealed their actions? GUN sect elder Lu Neng brought disciples to stop them. Don't leave, all of you stay. Lu Neng walked out from the darkness. The 9 Bug Gang leader was such a disgusting presence. That kind of high and mighty appearance really made people unhappy. Chapter 197. Within the room, Feng Poliu's expression changed like he thought about something. That smell was familiar, but he didn't pay much attention to it. Now that he thought about it, he felt that it wasn't good. What happened? Lin Fan looked at the 9-headed bug. Seeing that Feng Poliu's expression wasn't good, it was obvious that he had something on his mind. Feng Poliu said helplessly, It seems like I was right. Their lives are short, and something should have happened to them. You're talking about them? Lin Fan found it weird. That shouldn't be possible. There was a secret tunnel and no one noticed it. If they did, they wouldn't have waited until now to attack. And I smelled something from the person who left your room. That smell is something Insect Valley uses to track people. It is obvious that 9 Bug Gang has their eyes on them. It wasn't there when we met, but now it is. It seems like you want to meet someone and got it from there. Fong Polia didn't care about his life or death as it had nothing to do with him. But when he saw Lin Fan in deep thought, he asked curiously, "You want to save them?" "I'm thinking about it," Lin Fan said. He was really considering whether or not to save them. Their relationship wasn't close. At most, they had some contact. They couldn't even be considered friends. Now that he knew that they were in danger, he wasn't too emotional. He rolled up his sleeves and headed over. He was thinking about whether or not to take a look. Actually, there isn't much to think about. We don't know each other, and it is easy to get yourself killed. Fong Poliu persuaded. Since some things had nothing to do with him, then he didn't care. He didn't want to bring trouble to himself. Outside the city, third brother, Yang Wu saw his partner get stabbed in the chest with one sword. His eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. They were just about to leave. So why did such a thing happen? Who was it? Who betrayed them? Zhao Xianghe fought with him, but he was at a disadvantage. He wasn't Ji Yuan's sex match and slowly couldn't take it anymore. A sword shone coldly. Zhao Xianghe's stomach was ripped open and fresh blood flowed out. "My lord," Yang Wu had some minor injuries on his body, but they weren't serious. He supported Zhao Xianghe and retreated. "Don't worry about me. Go." Cold sweat appeared on Zhao Xianghe's forehead. The injury on his stomach was too painful. Moreover, he was an expert, and that sword had trashed him. "You are right. Wang Ji might have been corrupted by 9 Bug Gang." His voice was weak. "My lord, I can't give up on you," Yang Wu said. He looked at the people in front. "I see that you aren't from 9 Bug Gang. If you have any requests, then tell us. As long as you need it, we will be able to do it." Lu Nung shook the blood-stained sword in his hand and said with a smile, "Please lend me your lives." As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Nung attacked. A beam of sword light twined in front of him and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Just when his sword was about to kill the two of them, he felt a cold light coming from not far away. Pucci, a long saber was stabbed into the ground. "Who is it?" Ning Ning looked over, but didn't see anyone. However, the saber proved that there was someone around. Lin Fan walked out from the darkness and said calmly, "I thought that there would be many people, so there are only so few. How disappointing." Fong Poliu was helpless and insisted on coming over. He said that if it was an expert, he wouldn't attack. Who knew that he didn't care about them just because they had so few people? "Brother, we are in 9 Bug Gang's territory. Sometimes, couldn't he be a little more humble?" "Brother Lin." Yang Wu was delighted. He didn't expect Brother Lin to save his life once more. Such kindness was hard to repay. Lin Fan walked in front of Yang Wu and looked at him. "You only have so few people. It isn't enough for me to hammer. What a waste." Rage points plus 222. Rage points plus 123. Lu Nung was furious. How arrogant were those words, just like the 9 Bug Gang leader. His words were just too ugly, and it made them feel really annoyed. "Kid, arrogant. Later, when you die under my sword, don't say that I didn't remind you." Lu Nung hollered in rage and used a decent sword technique. The sword light shone, and from far away, one could sense the sword energy from his body. Lin Fan didn't take out a blade as he felt like there was no need. Zhou Zhongmao wanted to attack, but Lin Fan stopped him. His cultivation was really strong, and he wanted to test its strength. Just as Lu Nung was about to arrive in front of him, "Demon Ape Fist!" Lin Fan hollered. The demon ape appeared behind him. It was even stronger than cousins. The demon ape's aura spread out as it raised its hands and hammered down. Pong! The ground shook, and a giant hole appeared. So strong. Zhou Mao was shocked. Cousin was so amazing. Also, didn't he just give this cultivation technique to Cousin? How did he cultivate it so quickly? It was even more profound than his own. Was there anyone who could teach him why his cousin was so strong? He broke through to Master Realm. Fong Poliu's eyes were filled with shock. How old was he? How could he cultivate so quickly? What realm was he at the last time he saw him? No, he must have seen wrongly. That was F asterisk king impossible. Feng Poliu's eyes opened wide in shock. He felt like the heavens were joking with him. Or was it that when one reached middle age, one's eyes were about to go blind? Maybe he was really going blind. Lu Neng came aggressively with his sword in hand. He was still using his best swordsmanship. But at this moment, he stood rooted to the spot and looked at the deep hole in front of him. His body couldn't help but tremble. Haze, I hammered too early. If not, you would be in the hole. Lin Fan was helpless. He didn't expect that he would fail. How weak was that? Speaking of which, after cultivation reached Master Realm, it felt different. Internal strength and the explosion of power stacked together. There was no problem at all. He was a dual cultivator. Even if he was at the initial stage, he felt that he was stronger than peak Master Realm experts. Maybe it was an illusion, but he was confident. You? Who are you? Lu Ning's voice started to tremble. Lin Fan's aura was just too strong. Especially when those fists landed, the strong wind caused his face to hurt. What is your cultivation? Lin Fan asked. Lu Ning's teeth chattered. Martial. Martial path, grade, 12 peak. Oh, that is very weak. Moreover, your sword skills are a little bad. Lin Fan chuckled. He finally understood why so many people loved to cultivate and cultivate with their lives on the line. It turned out that the feeling of being strong was really great. Cousin, am I strong enough? Lin Fan turned around and asked. At that moment, Lu Neng, who was trembling in fear, had a cold glow in his eyes as he hollered in rage, die. The sword in his hand stabbed forwards, and the sword light gathered at one point. Come. Lu Ning's eyes opened wide. How is that possible? His sword seemed to have stabbed into a metal block and was unable to move an inch. Beneath the pierced clothes, there was perfectly fine skin. The accuracy is enough, but the strength is much weaker. Lin Fan turned his head and moved the blade away. As expected, after physique broke through to Master Realm, it was terrifyingly tough. Lu Neng was a martial path grade 12 peak expert. That sword, which contained internal strength, actually couldn't break through his skin. He wanted to shout out loud, Brother, are you joking with me? Your sword can't even break my defense, so what else can you do? Rage points plus 666. Lu Ning's eyes turned red. Rage exploded out as he hollered, I don't believe you. Destruction sword. He jumped up in shock. Terrifying martial path grade 12 internal strength surged out. How could he be so strong at such a young age? Where did this sick person come from? He didn't believe it. He didn't believe it. Lin Fan clenched his fingers, internal strength and strength combining to explode forth with his strongest attack. He punched forwards and struck Lu Ning's stomach. With a pong, the area where the fist touched started to twist at a speed that the naked eye couldn't capture. There was a loud explosion. Lu Ning's body flew backward, smashing numerous trees and falling to the ground. This is the strength of an initial master. No, Master Realm can't compare to me, who has reached both internal and external cultivation. Lin Fan muttered. The strength of that fist wasn't explosive. It was just a casual punch. However, it was this casual punch that killed the other party in an instant. Run. Run quickly. This fellow is too terrifying. When the Jiuan sect disciples saw their elder explode, they were like frightened birds. Although Lin Fan didn't attack them. Very quickly, he was going to kill them. Lin Fan looked at those fellows who fled and was annoyed. He raised his hands, and lightning wrapped around them. This was the power of the Big Dipper Silence Palm. After breaking through to Master Realm, his control of internal strength was much finer. The power of lightning that was formed from his internal strength was extremely taxing on his internal strength. But to Lin Fan, his internal strength was limitless. It is over. He pushed with his palms. A snake-like lightning wrapped around and covered those disciples who were fleeing. Pili Pala. It was like the sound of firecrackers. Following that, those disciples fell to the ground with a loud bang, their bodies emitting thick black smoke. Everyone's hair had been electrocuted into a killer. Come out, stop hiding. Aren't you tired of watching? Lin Fan's eyes locked onto the dark sky. Pung pung. Instantly, a person appeared from the darkness. He stood on a branch and wore a mask. Amazing, you actually noticed me. The person wearing the mask opened his mouth. His voice was that of a male and was slightly hoarse. Lin Fan smiled. It isn't that I noticed you, I was just casually saying. After all, many wuxia dramas are like that. He was just giving it a try. In the past, when he watched dramas, there would always be people observing from the shadows. He had been thinking, could he really not notice me? So after this ended, he casually said that it was okay, even if there was no one, he would just treat it as if he saw wrongly. Feng Poliu was stunned. What was a wuxia drama? When did this fellow come? He didn't sense anything at all. It didn't mean that he was strong, but that he was really good at hiding. Chapter 198. Who was he? Feng Poliu didn't know him. Although Nine Bug Gang was a subsidiary power of Insect Valley, he was unfamiliar with the gang members. As long as it wasn't Junior Brother, everything else didn't matter. The person who appeared was strong, but he wasn't so strong that he couldn't fight him. Feng Poliu admitted that there were many experts in the world and many stronger than him. But as the grand disciple of Insect Valley, he wasn't just for show. There wasn't a high chance of meeting people stronger than him. You should be the one who went against Nine Bug Gang recently, right? The masked man asked. Some people who popped out from nowhere dared to attack Nine Bug Gang. They were really bold. Lin Fan smiled. That's right, it is me. I did everything. As long as Nine Bug Gang can't find any clues, you can blame it on me. It can't be wrong. You are really confident. The face hidden under the mask changed. He had met another abnormal person. He hated such people because the expression on his face was so confident. In the past, he was a confident person and was arrogant to everyone. However, after he met the gang leader of Nine Bug Gang, his confidence collapsed. From then on, he wore a mask. It wasn't that he didn't have the face to face others, but that the gang leader told him that if he saw his confident face again, he would kill him. He was so frightened that he only dared to wear the mask. It is okay. A man has to be confident. For example, I show my face to others, but you can only wear a mask. Don't think that you look handsome when you wear a mask. You are just like a fool. Lin Fan said. Rage points plus 666. Decent rage points. He was already annoyed. Are you angry? Unfortunately, you aren't confident enough. If you are, you should take off your mask and not use anger to vent your unhappiness like a kid. Lin Fan smiled. For rage points, he was actually going all out. His mouth was like a machine gun, spitting fire and giving off a blue light. Feng Poliu was helpless. He was from Nine Bug Gang. So why did he say so much to him? Rage points plus 777. The man with the ghost mask was enraged. Shut up. It's impossible for me to shut up. If you want to make a move, then come. I also want to see if you can make me use my full strength. Lin Fan was really a little arrogant. In the past, he wouldn't have said such things. He had always been low-key and kept a low profile. Now, keeping a low profile was far away from him. Replacing him was the king of verbal cannons, who loved to spout nonsense. Furthermore, there was discrimination in their hearts. Those who were weak didn't want to bother with them. Only those with great strength could receive his care and concern. Rage points plus 888. The masked man was really angry. He had never met someone who could make him so angry. It was as if someone was jumping in front of him, taking off his pants, patting his buttocks, and shouting, "Come and hit me. Come and hit me if you have the guts. Otherwise, I'll kill you with a fart." Swoosh. The sound of leaves. The masked man spread his arms wide, and many leaves floated around him. They were densely packed, and they spun rapidly as if they could cut through anything. His opponent was gathering his power. Lin Fan waved his hand at Zhao Xianghe and Yang Wu. Hurry up and get out of the way. You guys won't be able to handle this wave of attacks. Yang Wu obediently retreated. He wasn't angry at all. He was telling the truth. They were a little weak and couldn't handle it. As an official of the Imperial Dynasty's secret department, Zhao Xianghe felt hurt. When did he become so weak in front of such a young man? He even felt so ashamed. Didn't other people say that young people wouldn't be too strong? That was because cultivation needed time. But who was this young man? Why was he so strong? He was already middle-aged and wasn't his match. If Lin Fan knew what he was thinking, he would tell him seriously. That was because he was a genius. He definitely wasn't someone that others looked down on, but envied. Zhou Zhongmao saw that cousin was in danger and wanted to head up to help. Feng Polio blocked him. What do you want to do? My cousin is in danger, so I have to help him. Zhou Zhongmao said. Feng Polio wanted to die, but he still said, don't think too much. Your cousin is much stronger than you. If you go help, you're asking to die. Even if I die, I am not afraid. Zhou Zhongmao said firmly. He didn't fear enemies who hurt cousin. Even if he couldn't win, he would fight to the last drop of health. Naturally, Feng Polio wouldn't let go of Zhou Zhongmao. This fellow's brain wasn't normal. That was something he saw from a long time ago. Die. I'm going to rip you into pieces. The masked man hollered. He pushed with his palms. Thick internal strength wrapped up each leaf. A strong wind blew, and with a xiao, the leaves swept forwards. The leaves that spun at high speeds had a strong cutting ability. There were innocent trees in front of him that were cut by the leaves, but the leaves were completely unharmed. His internal strength was really thick. Normal people wouldn't be able to handle such consumption. This move is really strong, but I know how to do it too. Lin Fan opened his fingers. He didn't need to gather energy. Internal strength surged out. The leaves on the ground floated up. Each leaf had a layer of internal strength on it. Xiao xiao. The leaves floating around him quickly flew over and collided with the other party's leaves. Every time a leaf collided, a shocking sound would erupt. This was the internal strength of both sides clashing. Why were the weak leaves so sharp? It was all because of the existence of internal strength. Lin Fan's internal strength was endless, and he couldn't feel any consumption at all. He was unhappy with the current situation. There were too few leaves, really too few. His internal strength couldn't be used up at all. Could he let him feel what it felt like to use up all his internal strength? Once, even if it was just for an instant. How annoying. Lin Fan hollered. Not to mention the leaves, even the trees were uprooted. His internal strength seemed like it couldn't be used up as he buffed the leaves and trees. Attack. A shocking scene exploded out. This. Feng Polio's eyes opened wide. This was just too sick. He knew that he was strong and had reached Master Realm. But didn't he feel that his internal strength was being consumed quickly? When his internal strength was used up, he was like a fish that was waiting to be slaughtered. The masked man was shocked. What was this fellow doing? Was he crazy? He pressed down with his palms. Internal strength was like a spinning wheel that wrapped around his body. Pung, pung. The leaves and trees all smashed onto it and then turned to dust. The masked man's originally disdainful smile turned serious. When he saw him play like that, he was thinking that it was great. Let's see how thick his internal strength was and how long he could last. However, things didn't seem right. The leaves and trees within a radius of several hundred meters were almost swept clean by him. He used internal strength to block, but he needed to consume internal strength. If this continued, he didn't even fight him and was able to compete with him in terms of consumption. God's shadow steps. The masked man stepped forwards, instantly turning into an afterimage. It was tough to track him. He even sped through the leaves and trees, perfectly dodging. This was a deep footwork technique. When one's cultivation reached master and above, their cultivation techniques weren't trash. Instantly, the masked man appeared in front of Lin Fan. One energy, saint mysterious technique. An even more terrifying internal strength exploded out and gathered on his fist. Lin Fan didn't panic at all. Purple Sun, 4 Saint Scriptures, purple internal strength exploded. A purple glow appeared behind his head. At the same time, his body was covered in a black mist. This was the internal strength of the demon enforcing heart scripture. Pung, pung. Unmovable king body was a physique technique. His muscles swelled up and tensed up. In that short moment, Lin Fan used all the strength that he had cultivated during this period of time. Their fists clashed. Pung. A white energy current rose up between their fists. It then spun like a windmill, causing an intense storm. Hong. The internal strength clashed, causing a deep hole to appear in the ground. The two of them maintained the position of clashing. There was no change at all. Feng Poliu's expression was solemn. The masked man's cultivation was peak master realm, which was the peak. He was just lacking a chance to open up his meridians and become a grandmaster. But young Master Lin was only initial master. They were actually on the same level. You were just a peak master realm expert. You were just too trash. No, it wasn't that he was too weak, but the strength that young Master Lin used wasn't something that an initial master could have. Internal and external cultivation. This was a dual cultivation. Normal people basically cultivated internal strength. Even if they cultivated physique, they wouldn't be able to reach such a level like young Master Lin. Damn it. Didn't they say that he was a rich family young master? How did he cultivate his physique? It seemed like he had reached Master Realm. You are not bad. Lin Fan smiled, reaching out with his left hand and grabbing his wrist. The masked man reacted and grabbed Lin Fan's wrist too. Pung. The two of them punched one another, causing an even more intense storm. If one didn't personally witness it, no one would believe that an initial Master Realm fellow could actually fight a peak Master Realm expert on the same level. The masked man used some sort of cultivation technique. His arm twisted. He instantly pulled out his wrist and retreated. He took out a fan from his waist and opened it. Shio. Countless silver needles that were invisible to the naked eye flew out from the fan. These silver needles were as thin as cow hair and as fine as hair. Moreover, they could turn. Lin Fan crossed his arms, bent his body, and hollered. Ding ding dang dang. Those invisible needles struck his body and gave out a metallic sound. The needles fell. Many thin needles were scattered around Lin Fan's feet. The moonlight shone and reflected the moonlight. There was no movement. Lin Fan maintained that posture. Some needles pierced his back, but they didn't enter his body. Ooh. Lin Fan heaved a sigh of relief. The internal chi in his body swelled, and the muscles on his back swelled. Poochie. The needles in his back were squeezed out and stabbed into the darkness. What is your name? The masked man said solemnly. Lin Fan smiled and stomped his feet. The needles on the ground floated up and stabbed into the ground, forming 3 words. This is my name. Read it out loud for me. Hello, Father. The masked man looked at it word by word, and then he couldn't help but say it out. This was a habit of humans. Hey's hello, son. Lin Fan replied. Rage points plus 999 PS. Sorry, I updated late. I was reading a novel and forgot. Chapter 199. I really want to kill you. The masked man gritted his teeth in rage. Vengeful energy seeped out. He was filled with killing intent. Rage points plus 999. He had reached the peak of rage points. Lin Fan stretched out his neck and patted the artery on his neck. Come, kill me here. Slice down, Poochie, that feeling. Feels good. He provoked him in an unrestrained manner. The masked man had never faced such a person who dared to provoke him in front of him and was still able to live. This was the first one. Feng Poliu wanted to die. Dear young Master Lin, didn't you fight well just now? Why did you stop and even argue with him? Lin Fan wasn't interested in fighting. If he didn't suppress him, then it would be so pointless. To fight to the point where he was covered in injuries, he didn't even know why. Go suppress him. I'm not interested anymore. Lin Fan waved his hands towards Feng Poliu. 100 silver a month was expensive. Now was the time for him to perform. He didn't need to waste time. He just had to do it. Once Feng Poliu suppressed him, he would have a good chat with him. Feng Poliu looked at Lin Fan speechlessly. He knew that this would happen. To Lin Fan, he had more or less figured out just how strong he was. He was very strong. If he continued to fight him, he would definitely win. He just needed to pay a small price. There weren't many people around. Who was he performing for? Even if there was an audience, he wouldn't perform. He wasn't someone who acted cool. The masked man didn't say a word, leaving right away. A voice spread out. I remember all of you. Prepare to receive the endless rage of 9 bug gang. Lin Fan looked at Feng Poliu. Feng Poliu looked at Lin Fan too. The two of them just stared at one another. Why did you let him run? Lin Fan asked. His head hurt. If he knew, he would have tangled with him and then let Feng Poliu attack from the side. He ran too quickly, and I couldn't react. Feng Poliu blamed him. It wasn't his fault. It definitely wasn't. Actually, he didn't want to stop him. There was really no need. You came to Fuzhou and fought 9 Bug Gang head-on. You were already really amazing. He really wanted Lin Fan to leave. There was no need to fight to the death with 9 Bug Gang. With their current abilities, staying in Fuzhou was not a wise choice. It was all right now. He was so close to going head-on against 9 Bug Gang. Thank you, Brother Lin. Yang Wu was astonished by Lin Fan's strength. It was just too terrifying. Moreover, they heaved a sigh of relief when they got rid of 9 Bug Gang's chase. Of the dozen or so people who came with him, only he and Lord Zhao were left. It was really too miserable. It's just a small matter. Lin Fan waved his hand dismissively, not taking this matter to heart. Zhao Xiang said, "Young Master Lin, do you have any thoughts about serving the imperial dynasty? With your strength, if you serve the imperial dynasty, you will definitely be able to soar. Riches and power will definitely not be a problem." He had a heart that cherished talent. It would be a waste if such a person couldn't be used by the imperial dynasty. Do I look like someone who doesn't have money? Lin Fan felt that this Zhao Xianghe didn't know how to speak well and was a little timid. Didn't he just want to rope him in so that he would be safer in the future? Zhao Xianghe explained, "Young Master Lin, this isn't about money, but to young Master Lin. Okay, let's not talk about this anymore. What you said didn't move my heart at all, which means that I don't feel tempted at all." Lin Fan waved his hands and didn't want to continue talking about this matter. He was thinking about a really complicated matter. He couldn't stay in Fuzhou anymore. He was exposed. If he continued, he wouldn't gain anything unless he was confident in fighting 9 Bug Gang alone. But was that possible? If he could wipe out 9 Bug Gang so easily, they wouldn't have lasted until now. But if he didn't wipe them out, then wasn't the bold words he had spoken earlier a slap to his own face? Instantly, he thought about how 9 Bug Gang still had divisions. He could wipe them out and complete his bold words from before. Zhao Xianghe was a little sad. He was ignored. Yang Wu said softly, "Sir, let's leave in case 9 Bug Gang sends people to chase us." Zhao Xianghe nodded his head. That was the only way. This trip to Fuzhou terrified him. It was just too dangerous. "Brother Lin, we'll take our leave. We will repay your kindness in the future." Yang Wu cupped his fists and said solemnly. Lin Fan smiled. "Have a safe trip." Very quickly, Yang Wu and Zhao Xianghe left on their horses, not daring to stay any longer. I feel like the two of them have short lives. Feng Poliu looked at their disappearing backs and said. Lin Fan said, "Stop it. They didn't offend you, so why do you keep saying that they have short lives? For people like you to say bad things about them behind their backs, it would be impossible for them to win money in the gambling den. Forget it if you don't believe me." "Really, what do you want now?" Feng Poliu asked. Lin Fan said, "Leave Fuzhou. We can't stay here for long." "Right, where are our horses?" Feng Poliu blinked. "Who didn't lead the horses? What I need to lead? Do I look like someone who leads horses?" Lin Fan was speechless. A rich family young master leading a horse. No one would believe him. Then, the two of them looked toward Zhou Zhongmao. Since the two of them didn't lead, then it was definitely him. Zhou Zhongmao said honestly, "Cousin, I was the one who led the horse. When we entered the secret passage, I left the horse outside. Is it gone?" Wasn't that nonsense? They were definitely gone. "It is okay. The horses went out for a walk, then let's go." Could Lin Fan blame his cousin? He couldn't blame his cousin. Wasn't it just a horse? What was the big deal? Feng Poliu wanted to say something, but he noticed that Lin Fan's gaze was a little off, like he was sending a message. "If you dare to say anything about my cousin, I will chop off your head." Feng Poliu was innocent. "I didn't mean that." Lin Fan took a look. "If you don't mean that, then don't say anything, otherwise I will take it that you mean that." Feng Poliu, what do you mean? Lin Fan, who cares what I mean anyway? You are not allowed to. No matter what, Lin Fan being willing to leave Fuzhou was a success for Feng Poliu. Leaving Fuzhou was the right choice. 9 Bug Gang was terrifyingly strong and couldn't be offended. At least with the current situation, not offending them was the wisest choice. Let's go. Lin Fan rose up. His body was as light as a swallow, slowly disappearing into the darkness. He was thinking about when he could fly. How good would it be if he could fly? The three of them were really quick under the moonlight. They were like fairies flying towards the moon. Suddenly, there was a figure waiting in front of him, maybe sensing their arrival. Ingzio turned his head. His expression was a little complicated. "Senior brother, are you just going to avoid me? You know him?" Lin Fan asked. Feng Poliu shook his head. "You recognize the wrong person." Ingzio stood there and said, "Eldest brother, I can mistake others for someone else, but I will never mistake you for someone else. Your smell, your moves, and your voice, I will never forget them. Why can't I admit who you are? Or did you really kill Master and don't dare to face me? Master treats us like a mountain. You treat Master as your father. Other people might believe that you killed Master, but I don't. He was eating melons." Lin Fan was quiet. One had to be quiet when eating melons, otherwise there would be nothing to eat. However, Feng Poliu was really vicious. He actually killed Master. He really couldn't tell. "Senior brother, take off your mask. I don't believe that you killed Master." Ingzio said. What he said was the truth. He believed that anyone killed Master, but he didn't believe that senior brother killed Master. Lin Fan and Zhong Mao didn't say a word. This was a family matter, and it wasn't good for them to interrupt. Listening quietly was the greatest respect they could give to the other party. Feng Poliu's head hurt. He didn't want to see people he was familiar with, especially junior brother. Instantly, Feng Poliu attacked, arriving in front of Ingzio. He pressed down with a palm, and then his technique changed, striking the back of his neck. He just knocked him out. "Young Master Lin, let's go," Feng Poliu said. He stood beside junior brother to let Lin Fan go first, in case Lin Fan was rash and killed him. That would be a huge problem. Lin Fan smiled. Who didn't have any secrets? He headed forwards. Feng Poliu looked at Lin Fan's back and then squatted down to touch Ingzio's head. He muttered, "Junior brother, it is not good to know some things." He followed. Not long after Feng Poliu left, Ingzio woke up. He looked around to search for senior brother, but he couldn't find him. In the distance, Lin Fan said, "I couldn't tell. He is your junior brother, so you don't want to acknowledge him?" He recognized the wrong person. Feng Poliu said, "I don't think he recognized the wrong person. He is staying in 9 Bug Gang. I feel like he won't be treated well. Why don't you let him be like you? Become a helper of Marshall Path Mountain." Lin Fan said. Feng Poliu said helplessly, "I really don't know him. Stop acting, forget it. If you don't know him then, so be it. I have seen the consequences of him staying in 9 Bug Gang. If you don't admit it, when I get stronger and wipe out 9 Bug Gang, don't blame me for killing the wrong person." Who would believe him? Feng Poliu didn't care about Lin Fan's words at all. "Okay, let's not talk about this. Are we returning to Marshall Path Mountain?" Lin Fan shook his head. "Not Marshall Path Mountain. Let's head to the 9 Bug Gang division. We can't wipe out the headquarters, but a division shouldn't be a problem. Moreover, the silver is still hidden there, so we have to bring it back." "Are you serious?" Feng Poliu was stunned and looked at Lin Fan in a daze. What was he thinking? Did he want to fight 9 Bug Gang to the death? Lin Fan smiled. "How can it be fake? Don't worry, it is just a division. We will teach them a lesson." Feng Poliu was speechless. He felt like he was on the edge of asking to die. 9 Bug Gang was really unlucky to be targeted by this fellow. Chapter 200. After Lin Fan left Fuzhou, 9 Bug Gang searched the city. The deaths of those people from Jiyuan's sect didn't affect 9 Bug Gang at all. The gang leaders said that they were trash. If they weren't trash, then it proved that they weren't trash. But regretfully, they proved that they were trash and even died in his hands. To 9 Bug Gang, there were too many of such people, too many. They didn't even look at their own sect's strength and dare to come to 9 Bug Gang to introduce King Wudong. What a joke. The masked man returned in failure and was scolded and punished by the gang leader. He was really unwilling, but he had no choice. Lin Fan was unexpectedly strong. Wang Ji was the Fuzhou prefect and had been corrupted by 9 Bug Gang. However, the imperial dynasty didn't know about it. If they found out, he wouldn't have a good life. The commoners in the city suffered from people breaking into their houses for no reason. Even if they were unhappy, they were furious but didn't dare to say anything. Many sect disciples in Fuzhou noticed that 9 Bug Gang was causing a huge commotion. They were really curious and didn't know what happened. In the end, after searching for a long time, they didn't even find a single person. To 9 Bug Gang, this was an unbearable humiliation. Others found them and they lost many experts, but they didn't even find a single person. Trash. They were just trash. Yunlu City. Lin Fan and the others rushed through the night and finally arrived at their destination. This place was hundreds of miles away from Fuzhou. This was the place where they hid the silver. 9 Bug Gang had many divisions. There was one in Yunlu City, while the others were in other cities. The few cities were connected and protected Fuzhou within. These divisions opened their doors to recruit disciples. However, they were all outer disciples and weren't recognized by 9 Bug Gang. If something happened, these disciples would be cannon fodder and would always be the first to charge to their deaths. On the official path, Lin Fan, Feng Poliu, and the others walked leisurely. Before I saw Fuzhou, I felt that Yunlu City was the most luxurious city I have ever seen. Unfortunately, it can't compare to Fuzhou. Lin Fan exclaimed. How good would it be if Jiang City could catch up to Fuzhou, no? It didn't need to, it just needed to be the same as Yunlu City. Feng Poliu said, of course, Fuzhou's waterways are developed, and there is an endless stream of merchant ships. They're connected to the various cities, and business is frequent. However, we are heading there to find trouble. If not, we can see other sceneries like the markets that Fuzhou opened for sections. That is truly dazzling. That is a waste, but it is okay. If I have the chance, I will head to Fuzhou. Lin Fan smiled. Do you think he will let it go just like that? That was impossible. The main thing was that he wasn't strong enough. Once he was strong enough, he would crush 9 Bug Gang. Don't ask him why he was so powerful, because he was just that confident. Feng Poliu shook his head. Young Master Lin's thoughts were too simple. Forget it. It was good to have thoughts. Could he not let him imagine? After entering the city, Lin Fan and the others came to an end. Yunlu City didn't have his arrest warrant. Maybe to 9 Bug Gang, they were definitely hiding in the city. Guests, please enter. The servant at the door had a rough cloth on his shoulder as he bowed and welcomed them. Loft, good wine, good food, and 3 good rooms. Lin Fan said. He couldn't let himself suffer when he was outside. Feng Poliu looked at Lin Fan. Was he so generous? He was filled with disbelief. Okay. The servant wiped the tables and chairs for the 3 of them and then left. Feng Poliu saw the servant leave and smiled. You are wanted by 9 Bug Gang, and you're actually in their division city, eating and drinking. Aren't you afraid that people will kill you if they find out? He had seen arrogant people. He had never seen such an arrogant person. Whether or not they will kill me depends on whether or not they have the ability to do so. Lin Fan was really calm. He had an initial understanding of his own strength. Maybe he was the strongest below Grandmaster. He was just so confident. He didn't even need to say anything. Zhou Zhomao sat there honestly. When he heard what cousin said, he smiled in a silly manner. Very quickly, the servant brought good wine and dishes over. Servant, do you know where the 9 Bug Gang division is? Lin Fan asked. The servant was shocked. It was obvious that he was naturally afraid of the 9 Bug Gang division. He reacted and pointed at the tall tower. Sirs, that is it. Lin Fan looked out. In the distance, there was a 10-story tower that stood out from the rest of Yunlu City. It was really eye-catching and really majestic. Who knew that just a division would be so majestic? Oh, there is nothing for you to do. Thank you. Lin Fan smiled. Acting in the day was just too arrogant. It was best if he waited for night to fall before he attacked. Within a superior room, Lin Fan had nothing to do and waited for night to fall. He sat cross-legged and started to think about his cultivation technique. Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture was cultivated to the highest realm of grade 33. The purple internal strength had a change in quality. He activated it slightly and the purple internal strength in his body was unobstructed. When he used it, the purple energy buffed him, and it was filled with many mysteries. Moreover, when he used the purple sun force saint scripture, he could also use the demon heart enforcing scripture. This heart cultivation technique was a top heart cultivation technique. With the two stacked, the internal strength was really thick. There aren't many external techniques either. Only motionless bright king body and demonic ape fist can achieve the goal of increasing the inner chi of the body. I was thinking that maybe this was the reason why I was able to fight with peak Master Realm experts at Initial Master Realm. That was what he thought. Internal and external cultivation. Both of them were at Initial Master. He thought about a question and asked Cousin whether or not he could use two heart cultivation techniques at the same time. His cousin's answer made him even more certain that he was special. How is that possible? He couldn't use two heart cultivation techniques at the same time. After getting this news, Lin Fan felt that the small support system wasn't so simple. There were many things that he had to slowly study. I might need some more cultivation techniques. Lin Fan wanted to cultivate a few more related to heart cultivation and physique cultivation techniques. When that happened, he would know the exact situation. That night, the entire Yunlu city was really quiet. The night market ended much earlier than any other place. Are you sure you want to attack? Feng Poliu had to ask. He didn't want Lin Fan to fight to the death with 9 Bug Gang. To 9 Bug Gang, maybe time would wash away the past matters. But once they wiped out the division, then this hatred wouldn't end. Lin Fan said, "Of course, if not, why would I come here? Let's go." He didn't want to say more. An intense battle was about to occur. Just thinking about it made him excited. As for dilly-dallying and hesitation, that was the behavior of a woman. Yunlu City Division. The tall tower was lit up. White Demon returned from the headquarters and was furious. What did it have to do with him? The silver didn't disappear from his hands. He even rushed over in time. So what could he be blamed for? Have you arranged for my friends? White Demon found a subordinate and asked. Gang leader, it has been arranged. Send beauties for the guys. Send handsome guys for the girls. The subordinate said. He was really curious about gang leader's friends. It was normal for a guy to want a girl, but this girl actually wanted a guy. That was weird. He even wanted to take the initiative to go up and play with the gang leader's friend. White Demon saw through his thoughts and said coldly, "If you want to die, you can accompany them. People will die. Gang leader, I don't dare." The subordinate lowered his head and trembled. Although he was the gang leader of the 9 Bug Gang division, his position was really high. Making friends with all sorts of evil sect disciples could save him a lot of trouble. The people who came this time were Xiedao sect disciples. This sect cultivated the evil techniques of harvesting yin to replenish yang and yang to replenish yin. Anyone who fell into their hands would be sucked dry. It was really terrifying. White Demon waved his hands and told his subordinate to leave. He wanted to have a good rest and dream about being the gang leader of the headquarters. Of course, he could only dream about it. If he really did something, he would die a tragic death. Pung! Suddenly, there was a loud explosion. It woke White Demon up. His expression was one of rage. What happened? Who dared to make such a noise and disrupt his dreams? Did they really want to die? Instantly, the subordinate who left hurried in and said in a panic, "Gang leader, not good. Someone is attacking us." What? White Demon felt like he heard wrongly. What did he say to him? Someone was attacking? Did they take down the signboard of the 9 Bug Gang division, such that they didn't recognize this place? Solve it right away. Don't disturb my dream. Otherwise, I will teach you a lesson. Scram. White Demon didn't care about what was happening outside. There were some sects that were loyal to the royal family who sent people to wipe them out. But what happened in the end? Naturally, they became stronger and stronger. Yes, gang leader. The subordinate hurriedly left to inform the elders and helpers. These were the top powers of the division. Without the gang leader even needing to attack, they could deal with the enemy. Too weak. Lin Fan pushed forwards. Even if swords and blades struck him, he would slap them to death, leaving their corpses in one piece. Cousin was just a little fierce. He didn't hold back. He was just a corpse-tearing demon. It was bloody and terrifying. Such a good environment, but the ground was covered in blood. Feng Poliu showed mercy and didn't kill him. However, cousin stabbed him in the back. If you leave problems for my cousin, I won't let you off. Zhou Zhou stared at Feng Poliu and said, he didn't like such soft-hearted people. Especially, why did he leave these people alive? To leave problems for his cousin, to make them a true threat in the future? He had seen many such things. Looking down on others would bring unpredictable disasters to oneself. Only by killing them could he solve the danger. Feng Poliu wanted to teach this kid a lesson. He wasn't strong, but his tone was huge. However, forget it. He wouldn't stoop to his level. If he wanted to stab him, then go ahead as long as he was happy. Chapter 201. At that moment, someone hollered in rage. A spear pierced through the air. The spearhead spun quickly, shaking the air and forming a white energy whirlpool. Kung! Lin Fan reached out, allowing the spearhead to spin in his palm, but it was unable to move in at all. Your weapon isn't sharp enough, Lin Fan said. Feng Sheng's expression changed. He was actually unable to pierce his skin. He stepped back and asked coldly, who are you? People who knew him all knew that he used an explosive spear to sweep Song Mountain. He was famous there, which was why he was called Song Mountain Spear Saint. After he left Song Mountain, the people he met were all really strong. This was why he didn't become even more famous. But truthfully, his spear technique was really strong. This was why he was able to become a helper of the 9 Bugang Division in Yunlu City. The division only has so few people. Lin Fan looked around and didn't notice any other people. Rage points plus 333. Song Mountain Spear Saint Feng Sheng was furious. Was Lin Fan ignoring him? Damn, you even dare to disregard me. Song Mountain Spear Saint Feng Sheng. Take this. Feng Sheng couldn't take it anymore. To cultivate the spear, one naturally had to press forward and never retreat. Feng Sheng hid his aura and stared sharply at Lin Fan. Suddenly, his aura swelled, and he hollered. Cloud-shattering wind splitting. He instantly attacked. The long red spear expanded and turned into thousands of spear shadows. Out of all the illusions, one of them was real and had the strength to split open mountains. The wind whistled like the wind was being sliced apart. This was Feng Sheng's strength. It told the world that his title as Song Mountain Spear Saint wasn't just for show. Pata! Lin Fan reached out and grabbed with his fingers. He directly grabbed the spearhead that was hidden in the illusions. With a flick of his fingers, it shook. To Feng Sheng, the spear in his hand gave off an unstoppable aura. He released his hands, and the spear was grabbed by Lin Fan. Lin Fan clenched his fist and punched the tip of the spear. Poochie! The spear pierced through Feng Sheng's chest from the front all the way to the back. Fresh blood flowed down the spear. Just martial path grade 12, and you are so arrogant. Lin Fan waved his hands, not bothering about Feng Sheng at all. Rage points plus 999. Feng Sheng fell. His spear pointed to the ground. The Song Mountain Spear Saint died, but he didn't die for nothing. He was as light as a feather, but as heavy as a mountain. The moment he closed his eyes, it brought him the highest amount of rage points in his life. When the gang members saw that Feng Gong Feng was killed, they cried out in alarm and retreated. Who are they? I don't know. How terrifying. Consecrator Feng couldn't even take a single move. Initially, they were extremely excited when they saw Exalted Feng. They thought that as long as Exalted Feng took action, there would be no problem. But looking at the current situation, it was terrifying, okay? Consecrator Feng died with everlasting regret. Even his widened eyes were saying, how did this happen? How'd I die like this? Your 9 Bugang Division really has no one? If there's really no one, then I won't be courteous anymore. Lin Fan said that he was going to destroy the division, and he wouldn't waste any more time. Instantly, several figures appeared. One of them saw Feng Sheng being pierced by a spear and exclaimed, Brother Feng. Rage points plus 999, rage points plus 999. They were all filled with killing intent. When they learned that someone came to the 9 Bugang Division to cause trouble, they were shocked and filled with disbelief. But when they arrived, when they saw Tsong Mountain spear Saint Dai, they knew that the person who came wasn't simple. Someone finally came. Lin Fan smiled. Was this the top strength of the division? But it didn't look like it. Who are you people? The person who spoke was the division head, Old Wu Tuesday. His left arm was made of metal. When he fought someone, his arm was sliced off and replaced with metal. Originally, losing an arm would affect his cultivation greatly, but not only did he not become weaker, but he became stronger instead. Lin Fan smiled. We just came from Fuzhou. There are too many experts in the headquarters, and we can't wipe you out. I am really annoyed and heard that you have a division in Yunlu City, so I came to take a look. I noticed that you were a little weak, so I was prepared to wipe you out. The moment he said that, a furious voice spread out. This kid is arrogant. I have roamed the world for so many years and have never seen such an arrogant person. I will rip his mouth apart. Are the young people so arrogant now? Rage points plus 888. Rage points plus 888. Lin Fan came here to be arrogant. No matter if the higher-ups were furious or not, even the gang members couldn't take it. They were bound together, and if they lost, all of them lost. An outsider coming to the division to be arrogant meant that he didn't care about them at all. So they were furious too, and their anger gave Lin Fan enough motivation. Although the motivation was weak, one shouldn't look down on these rage points. At the crucial moment, they could explode with shocking effects. Wu Tu's face was dark and sunken, which means that everything that happened in our gang was because of you. The gang leader returned from the headquarters in a really annoyed mood. He found out that during this period of time, someone was causing trouble. Who knew that they would come to find him? Right, I did it. So, you bunch of people probably won't live to see the sun tomorrow. Lin Fan said, confident. Wu Tu laughed coldly, and then his face turned dark and sunken. Unfortunately, confident people don't live for long. Pung. Wu Tu disappeared from where he stood, only leaving behind a crack in the ground. Lin Fan smiled. Internal and external cultivation exploded out at the same time. His palm grabbed towards the sky. What? Wu Tu moved at an extremely fast speed. Suddenly, his line of sight was blocked, and a palm grabbed at him. He was so shocked that his expression changed drastically. This fellow was amazing. He couldn't be careless. White Demon held his forehead and closed his eyes to rest. He opened his eyes in shock and looked at the tightly shut wooden door. What is going on? He didn't know who dared to cause trouble in the division. But no matter who it was, as long as they dared to come, there was only one outcome: death. Shidao sect was a top sect among the evil sections. Naturally, there was a reason why he sucked up to the Shidao sect disciples. He hoped that he could get their support. They needed people to cultivate, and he could provide them. He just hoped that Shidao sect could give him some help. For example, to become the gang leader of the headquarters. A division was just too small, and he didn't care about it at all. Man, White Demon shouted. He picked up the teacup and took a sip. After a while, he frowned. Usually, when he called someone, someone would reply in a short time. Why was he so slow? White Demon's face was cold, and he was about to get up. Pung. The wooden door was smashed open and split apart, splattering all around. Shortly after, a person flew in and smashed into the pillar. He used a lot of strength, causing many cracks to appear on the pillar. Gang leader, Elder Wu's face swelled up, and he spat out fresh blood. Half of his body was deformed, and he was badly injured. He shouted towards White Demon and then fainted. He was too strong. He wasn't his match at all. Maybe he wasn't serious and was just playing with him. White Demon found it weird and looked towards the door. Your 9-bug gang really knows how to enjoy life. The headquarters is a giant ship facing the ocean, while your division is a giant tower that looks down on the entire Yunlu City. I'm really envious. Lin Fan walked in slowly. His body gave off a white mist which was formed from internal energy evaporating. When he fought Elder Wu and the others, he didn't use internal strength and just relied on his physique. Who knew that his physique was actually so strong too? Who are you? White Demon asked warily. To be able to walk here meant that the people below had all been dealt with. That wasn't a good sign. Lin Fan said helplessly. I have heard those words many times. Can't you change it? Okay, you don't need to ask. I admit that I am the person your 9-bug gang wants to find. I'm not here to turn myself in. I just want to wipe out your division. You are the only one left in the entire division. Zhou Zhongmao and Feng Poliu walked in. They just dealt with an ant. It was really easy. Feng Poliu sighed. Everything happened too quickly. They were about to wipe out the 9-bug gang division. What kind of motivation supported Lin Fan to do that? If it was just because of conflict, there was no need for that. White Demon squinted and laughed coldly. Wipe out the division. That would depend on whether or not you have strength. Do you think you can do whatever you want just by defeating them? You are wrong. You don't understand. A true expert only needs one person to support a huge power. Facing such a situation, White Demon didn't panic at all as he was confident in his own strength. So what if he wiped out those small fries? They were just normal gang members. Those elders or helpers were at most initial master. Even he could kill them. He just needed to spend a little more time. However, you really infuriate me, White Demon said coldly. Rage points plus 999. He was in charge of the Yunlu City Division. Now that it was destroyed, if the headquarters found out, they would scold him. However, as long as he took down the 3 of them, then such a thing wouldn't happen. At that moment, fog rose up from White Demon's body. There were things swimming in the fog. They looked like bugs. To Lin Fan, only the members of 9-bug gang knew the insect valley cultivation method. The few fellows he was facing below used martial arts that had nothing to do with Insect Valley. Die! White Demon hollered in rage. The mist formed into a fist and punched towards Lin Fan. Lin Fan dodged. When the fist landed, the ground was corroded. There was some unknown liquid left, and the ground gave out a sizzling sound. Amazing! Lin Fan exclaimed. He held the blade in his hand. Internal strength boiled and gathered on the blade. He then slashed forwards. White Demon controlled the fist to clash with the blade energy. There was a loud explosion. It formed a really strong strike. Everything in the room was flipped and it became a mess. Lightning blade, 4 strokes. Lin Fan hollered and slashed out. The blade light covered and drowned White Demon. What strong blade energy. White Demon was wary. Half of the mist around him was sliced off because he couldn't dodge it in time. If his body was hit, he probably wouldn't be able to take it. Lin Fan tossed the blade to the side. He didn't want to use it. Now, I'm going to be serious. P.S. I recommend a book, Skill Master Craftsman. Those who are interested can take a look. Chapter 202. Fuzhou, Giant Ship, 9-bug gang headquarters. Gang leader, I have turned Fuzhou upside down and haven't found those people. A hall head reported. He was really nervous and didn't know what to do. The 3-day deadline that gang leader gave was up. He said that if they couldn't find them in 3 days, they would be in trouble. Now that 3 days had passed, they really couldn't find them. It would be great if they had some clues, but unfortunately, there were none. Those people seemed to have evaporated. At this moment, the entire place was silent. No one dared to speak. Gang leader, who was like a meatball sitting behind the curtain, didn't make a sound at all. After a long while, he opened his mouth. So you didn't find them? Gang leader, I tried my best. I suspect that they left Fuzhou long ago. If not, they would have been able to find them. This hall head was weak in 9-bug gang and was ostracized. Gang leader ordered this matter so that everyone could search. Who knew that those people were so cunning and actually pushed the matter to him? In the end, he stopped this matter. If gang leader was furious, naturally, he would vent it on him. Left Fuzhou, then why are you still searching there? Didn't you listen to my words? Gang leader's voice became dark and sunken, and one could even hear him panting. The higher-ups in the cabin stood there and didn't dare to move. This was a matter between gang leader and head Xiao. They just treated it like they were watching a show. Gang leader, when I reacted, it was already too late. Leaving Fuzhou to search is like finding a needle in a haystack. Head Zhao's back was drenched in sweat. His forehead was covered in cold sweat. When he faced the gang leader, he was filled with fear. Late, is that the reason? I said that if I can't find them, I will feed you to the bugs. Now that you didn't complete it, I won't keep you alive. Gang leader's voice turned cold. Hall head Zhao's pupils constricted as he trembled in fear. Chief, this matter has nothing to do with me. They pushed the blame to me. I was alone. How could I possibly find the culprit? It's them. You can't blame me alone. Instantly, the surrounding higher-ups hollered in rage. Hall Master Zhao, how can you push the blame onto us? That's right. Back then, you were the one who wanted to personally search for it, hoping to accomplish something great. Now that you didn't accomplish it and will be punished by the gang leader, you blame this on us. Do you have any shame? Hall Master Li is right. Hall Master Zhao, you are in the wrong. Everyone targeted Hall Master Zhao and threw the blame to him. They wanted him to take the blame for them. They knew the gang master's temperament. I won't show you mercy just because you're the Hall Master. Whatever you say goes. For them. Since gang leader was such a violent person, why did he join 9 Bug Gang? Couldn't he just leave? There were many people who wanted to leave. But how many? Did he really think that the gang leader of 9 Bug Gang was a pushover, that just because he was fat he had no brains? Their lives were in the hands of the sect master. Even if they were given 10 guts, they wouldn't dare to do it. Hall Master Zhao glared at everyone. There was a ball of fire burning in his heart. These despicable and shameless fellows were detestable. He then looked towards the gang leader. He knew that he wouldn't be able to live past tonight. Gang leader, I have followed you for so many years and fought for you. Even if I didn't do much, I have worked hard. Today, you want me to die. I am not willing. I don't want to die. Hall Master Zhao's eyes turned red as he stared at the gang leader. He clenched his fists. Green veins popped out. The gang leader behind the veil acknowledged. You want to rebel? Hall Master Zhao knew that he wouldn't be able to live today. The gang leader definitely wouldn't let him off. That was because he had seen too many such things. How did he become the Hall Master? The previous Hall Master was killed by the gang leader before he became the Hall Master. Although a long time had passed, but he remembered it in his heart and would never forget those scenes. Gang leader, do you really want me to die? Hall Master Zhao's voice was really low, like he was on the verge of exploding. Hall Master Zhao, you didn't complete my mission, so you have to be punished. This is the gang rule, and no one could change it. I think you should know that. The gang leader shifted his body. The fats on his body were like waves, rumbling. The surrounding higher-ups had a look of enjoyment on their faces. What a nice voice. Suddenly, the expressions of the higher-ups in the room changed. They sensed killing intent from Hall Master Zhao's body. Crazy. Was this fellow crazy? Fatty, damned fatty, I've done so many things for you. Now, just because I haven't completed one thing, you want me to die? How can you be so heartless? Hall Master Zhao was enraged. Since that was the case, he could only fight to the death. When Hall Master Zhao said these words, everyone was shocked. The faces of the higher-ups in the room turned ashen white. They exclaimed and ran outside. Something happened. Something was really going to happen. Damn, are you a fool? You actually said that the gang leader was a fatty. Do you want us to die together? I hate people calling me a fatty. I want to feed you to bugs. Gang leader was furious. Endless rage exploded out. Instantly, Hall Master Zhao's pupils dilated as a huge shadow shrouded him. No! Yunlu City Division. Pung. A person was smashed into the ground, forming a deep hole. Looking closely, it was White Demon. Shortly after, a person landed. His leg stepped on the ground, giving out a shocking explosion. Lin Fan raised his leg and stepped on White Demon's face, smashing it into the ground. Is this what you meant by a true expert being able to carry a power alone? If that is all you have, then I really can't see how strong you are. He had some injuries on his body. However, the toughness of his physique was beyond imagination. His injuries were constantly recovering, and he was no longer a hindrance. White Demon wasn't weak, peak Master Realm. After fighting with him for such a long time, his head was starting to hurt. But Lin Fan felt that White Demon wasn't the strongest in peak Master Realm. Although he spent a lot of effort, in the end, he became a salted fish under his feet. A salted fish that couldn't even flip around. Poochie. White Demon coughed. Each time he coughed, He would spit out large amounts of fresh blood. His body felt like it was about to explode. Every single bone in his body seemed to have been broken by his opponent. Even his internal organs were damaged, and he was bleeding profusely. His body was bleeding profusely. "You fellow." White Demon glanced at Lin Fan in rage. He was so frustrated that he was about to die. Lin Fan slowly bent down. "How is it? I told you that I can't wipe out the headquarters, but it shouldn't be a problem to wipe out your division. Do you have anything else to say? All right, where is your division's wealth?" He thought about this really important question. Although he wanted to improve his cultivation now, when his cultivation really increased in the future and he needed to enjoy himself, he would need silver to maintain it. This was why if he built a solid foundation when he was young, then it wouldn't be so troublesome in the future. White Demon grinned. One couldn't see his snow-white teeth, only his mouth that was covered in fresh blood. Occasionally, blood would seep out. "Do you think I will tell you?" So annoying. Lin Fan was helpless. He hated people who were stubborn. He just couldn't understand what was the use of being so stubborn. He didn't bring it with him when he was born and couldn't bring it with him when he died. Helping others was the same as helping himself. "Don't be too arrogant. My death isn't much to the headquarters, but your actions have totally infuriated them. I hope that one day you can still be so calm." White Demon stared at Lin Fan like he wanted to remember his face in his heart. Once he turned into a ghost, he would find him to take revenge. Lin Fan took in a deep breath. He reached out and grabbed White Demon's head. He raised it in front of him and tossed it. With a pong, White Demon smashed into the ground and cried out. "Forget it. Whether you say it or not is up to you. I don't have high expectations for this." He had reached his goal. The division's destruction would let the headquarters know that sometimes one shouldn't offend people easily. Otherwise, one would end up badly. Feng Poliu felt tired. Why didn't he just say it? Why did he have to hide it? Although wealth wasn't attractive to him, if he had some extra money, he could head to the gambling den and not be tossed out because he had no money. Unfortunately, he didn't want to say it, so he had no choice. "After dealing with you, I will go search. If I can't find it, then forget it." Just as Lin Fan was prepared to kill this fellow, a furious shout spread out from the distance. "Stop!" 2 males and 1 female floated over from the distance. Their movement techniques were really strong, and they left behind long after images. The 3 of them from Xiedao sect were enjoying the cauldrons that White Demon found for them. When they noticed the commotion outside, they didn't care much. This was White Demon's matter and should be solved by him. Why would it be their turn? But since White Demon was suppressed, then it had something to do with them. Lin Fan raised his head and looked out. The 3 of them didn't look like they were from 9 Bug Gang, but the aura that they gave off made one feel uncomfortable. "Be careful. They seem to be from Xiedao sect." Feng Poliu was knowledgeable and knew where they came from right away. "Xiedao sect? What sect is that?" Lin Fan didn't know much about sections. The only sect he had seen was Wandering Dragon sect. Feng Poliu said, "Xiedao sect is an evil sect and was created by a disciple of Yin Yang sect. It has 300 years of history and is really strong." To Lin Fan, this was like listening to a story. After all, a sect with a long history would have a deep foundation. It sounded like a fairy tale to him. "Oh, so it is a handsome brother. Why do you like to fight and kill? Why don't you come to my side and enjoy sex?" The only girl out of the 3 of them had a flirtatious expression. She wore very little clothes and revealed a large portion of her flesh. Simply put, she was a prostitute, especially those 2 dots, which were really visible and one could see what their shape was like. Lin Fan took a look and said in disdain, "You are so flirtatious. You wear so much makeup, and I can smell it from so far away. I will leave your corpse intact and not let you spit out blood. I am afraid your blood will be smelly." Chapter 203. Rage Points plus 555. A little weak, he only had so little rage points. He curled his lips in dissatisfaction. "Meishio, I didn't expect that your charm would be ignored one day." The bald guy beside Meishio laughed out loud. There were 6 scars on his head. His upper body was bare, and his muscles swelled up. "Shut up." Meishior stared at him in rage. Just that stare was really alluring and made one's body go soft. White Demon's face was swollen, and his eyes were only a slit. He opened his mouth weakly. "Save me." However, after he said those words, he regretted it. What was the point of relying on them? The three of them weren't as strong as him. At that moment, the guy who didn't speak walked towards Lin Fan. He took out a stone token and tossed it towards him. "White Demon is Shidao Sek's friend. I hope that you can give him face and let him off. This token is an apology. In the future, when you head to Shidao Sect, you can ask them to help you do something." He was just bragging, and it was basically useless. When he took the token to Shidao Sect, he would definitely not be able to return, and he would become a cauldron for the sect. He heard that the sect had a senior brother who wasn't straight. Thinking about that, a weird smile appeared on his face. Suddenly, his smile froze. He whipped at his waist. Terrifying power exploded, and his body felt like it was about to explode. Pong! The guy's body flew out like a cannonball, smashing into the stone pillar of the tower. The stone pillar cracked, and a huge hole appeared. "Even my father's face is useless outside, and you're talking about face to me. You are sick in the head." Lin Fan was filled with grievances. His father was so strong, and when he faced problems, he used who he was, but he was still beaten up by others. Now, these three people came from who knew where and casually threw a stone token to make him give face. What was going on? Feng Polio wanted to stop them, but it was too late. Young Master Lin was really amazing. He was impressed. Not only did he offend 9 Bug Gang, he even offended Shidao Sect. Amazing, really amazing. "How dare you?" Meishior looked at Lin Fan in shock. He had already reported his background, and he still dared to attack. He obviously didn't care about Shidao Sect at all. Bang! Meishior didn't even have time to blink. She only felt a gust of wind, and the demonic monk beside her disappeared. "You don't even have Martial Path Grade 12 cultivation. So how do you expect me to believe how strong your Shidao Sect is? You were just holding this stupid token?" Lin Fan smashed the token on her face. The token bounced a little, then fell into the gap between the tall buildings. There was a time when water filled the sky due to friction. What are you talking about? The current situation was not good for Meishior. There were 3 of them just now, but now she was the only one left. At this moment, Meishior came to her senses and looked at the man in front of her. Her eyes were filled with fear. It was impossible to resist. She was the weakest here. Even the strongest could not resist. How could she resist? Perhaps Meishior hummed. The token in her hand was cold, stimulating her senses. She didn't act too much. She just hoped that she would use this small hump to attract his attention. Maybe it would be fine. White Demon didn't have the energy to say anything. He didn't expect this fellow to actually kill a Shidao Sect disciple. With Shidao Sect's personality, they definitely wouldn't let him off. He didn't say anything. It was useless to say anything now. Feng Poliu saw Lin Fan stare at Meishior, and thought that he liked her. He reminded, "Young Master Lin, since you have offended her, then there is no turning back. You can't leave her alive." If he didn't attack, he really didn't want Lin Fan to have conflicts with Shidao Sect. But now that 2 of them were killed, if one was left alive, then it would be a problem in the future. When Meishior heard this, she was terrified. Her gaze towards Feng Poliu was filled with rage. "Jerk! If I didn't die, I would take your life." However, Lin Fan's next words made her heave a sigh of relief. "You really are vicious. You can even attack a woman. I will never hurt a beautiful flower in my life." Lin Fan looked at Feng Poliu and objected to his cruel actions. He waved his hand. "Cousin, come over for a moment." Zhou Zhongmao walked in front of Cousin. "Come, touch her head with this hand, touch her chin with this hand." Lin Fan told Cousin to do it. Cousin was smart and knew right away. He didn't need to learn at all, and his actions were really standard. Meishior was filled with questions. What was he doing? "Cousin, do you feel anything?" Lin Fan asked. Zhou Zhongmao shook his head. "Cousin, I don't feel anything." This was normal. Zhou Zhongmao really didn't feel anything at all. Even if Meishior's breasts were huge, Cousin's gaze didn't even sweep over them. Even if he did, it was an unintentional action. Mei Xiao was nervous, but she felt that he didn't attack because he was interested in her. Moreover, he said that he would never hurt a beautiful flower. This meant that she could still live. As long as she was alive, she would have a chance to contact Xiaodao sect. At that time, she would be able to take revenge. Twisted, Lin Fan said. The moment he said this, Kacha, her neck broke. That was the sound of her spine breaking. Feng Poliu opened his mouth and stared at Lin Fan with his mouth agape. He didn't expect this fellow to have such a dark side. The moment Mei Xiao's spine broke, she provided him with 555 rage points. The peak of her life. You really aren't going to say where you placed the silver? Lin Fan looked at White Demon and asked. White Demon gave a tragic smile. If I don't say, you won't let me off. If I say it, you still won't let me off. I have spent more time in the pugilistic world than you. Remember, there is no one who always wins. When the true calamity comes, you'll be more than me. Pung. Lin Fan was lazy to listen to White Demon's meaningless words, directly kicking him to death. Cousin, go see whether or not there are any fish that escaped the net. Since he did it, then he shouldn't show mercy. Zhou Zhongmao picked up the blade that fell to the ground. Each time he passed a complete corpse, he would stab it. He was decisive and didn't hesitate at all. He killed them with one blade. Even if they were dead, they could only die twice. As expected, there were indeed fish that escaped the net. They were definitely left by Feng Poliu. When Zhou Zhongmao attacked, he definitely wouldn't leave a complete corpse. Naturally, he would slice the corpse into pieces. Feng Poliu's methods were more normal. If he was lucky, there would be people who were heavily injured but still alive. Lin Fan entered the giant tower to search whether or not there was treasure hidden within. He searched really carefully and didn't let go of any place. However, he searched all the way to the top and didn't find anything suspicious. They hid so deeply. Lin Fan was annoyed. He had no way to deal with these stubborn fellows who didn't speak. Actually, he couldn't blame them for being stubborn. Since they knew that they were going to die, why would they say where the silver was hidden? He searched one round and didn't find anything, so he gave up. Outside, the commotion in the division naturally shocked many commoners nearby. However, no one dared to head out. They knew that something huge had happened. Otherwise, there wouldn't be such a commotion. That was the 9 Bug Gang division, who dared to cause trouble here. Those who dared to cause trouble naturally weren't normal people. When he left, he told Cousin to find a carriage. At the same time, he pasted his portrait and name on the 9 Bug Gang division. He had to let the 9 Bug Gang headquarters know who did it. In the forest. Young Master Lin, where are we going after digging out the silver? Feng Poliu asked. He was totally convinced. The Yunlu City division was wiped out just like that. Xiaodao sect disciples were also killed along with them. Just thinking about it made his head hurt. Lin Fan stood with his arms behind his back and didn't reply. He was a little worried. We killed a lot of people tonight. Feng Poliu rolled his eyes. Wasn't that nonsense? How could they kill less? At least hundreds of people were killed. It was enough to form a river of blood. Of course, they didn't kill wrongly. From the gang leader to the members, none of them were innocent. Forget it. I'm a little tired. Let's return to Marshall Path Mountain. Lin Fan said. Feng Poliu heaved a sigh of relief. He thought that they were going to wipe out other divisions. What happened tonight would definitely spread to the 9 Bug Gang headquarters by tomorrow night. At that time, all the divisions would be wary. It wouldn't be so easy to wipe them out, and they might even lose their lives. Zhou Zhongmao placed the silver he dug out one by one onto the horse carriage. Cousin, it is done. Lin Fan patted Cousin's shoulder and said in satisfaction, very good. Cousin, don't be so murderous in the future. Many people died tonight. Understood, Cousin. Zhou Zhongmao nodded his head and listened to Cousin's words. Cousin told him not to be so murderous, so he lowered it by a little. Feng Poliu dissed. Who was the murderous one? Lin Fan left his portrait and name. He wasn't afraid that they would know who he was. Anyway, the world was so huge and Jiang City was so far away from Fuzhou. Even if they cracked their brains, they wouldn't be able to guess. If one day they found out who he was, no, that wasn't possible. Before they found out, maybe he would have already wiped out the 9 Bug Gang headquarters. Also, the Shedao sect disciples he met made him realize a problem. Even the disciples of powerful sects would not necessarily have a high cultivation base. He thought that when he broke through to Master Realm experts would be everywhere. Now, it seemed like that wasn't the case. If not, the Yunlu City division wouldn't just have White Demon, this peak Master Realm expert. Phone Poliu, do you think there are many Master Realm people? Lin Fan asked. Phone Poliu said, it depends on the situation. Normal people need 30 to 40 years to reach Master Realm. Actually, it depends on talent and the place. Within hundreds of miles of Jiang City, there shouldn't be more than 5. If we go to some big cities or strong sects, there will be many. Lin Fan understood what he meant. Just like in the past, it was tough to find one in 100 million in a town. There were a few in the county and many in the city. When they went to important cities, they would be everywhere. That was what he meant. Chapter 204. The next day, Yunlu City commoners surrounded the division and didn't dare to enter. They pointed at the situation inside and discussed softly. In a night, 9 Bug Gang was wiped out. Some people heard the commotion inside, but didn't dare to come out. They could only hide in their blankets and shiver, waiting for things to end. Last night, I heard movement. It lasted for a long time. There were also tragic cries. After a long while, the cries disappeared and I heard the sound of horses. This person was telling the truth. It was obvious that he lived next to the branch and had heard everything that had happened last night without missing a single detail. Even wiping out the 9 Bug Gang division, who is so bold? The commoners discussed. To them, all of this was too far away. In their hearts, they only knew that 9 Bug Gang was strong. The division was strong too, and no one dared to offend them. Now that they stood at the entrance and saw the tragic situation inside, it had a huge impact on them. Very quickly, a bunch of guys riding horses came to the entrance. Their expressions were dark and sunken as they chased away the commoners. One of them walked in to take a look. Corpses were all over the ground. Even if the guy had been through a lot, when he saw those scenes, he panicked and didn't know what to do. Who had the guts to do such a thing? Did they really want to die? That night. Punk. Damn. Bunch of trash. What do I need you for? There was a loud explosion. Terrifying internal strength exploded from the gang leader's body, forming a shockwave that spread out. The expressions of the higher-ups changed. They were unable to block it at all and were smacked away into the water. Then, it was like they thought about something terrifying in the river. They jumped onto the boat and returned to the cabin, kneeling in front of the gang leader. They cursed in their hearts. Damn it, you bastards. Even if you want to cause trouble, you can't do that. If you have balls, then come to the headquarters. You want to wipe out the division. Weren't you just making us suffer? Moreover, when they sensed the terrifying aura of the gang leader, their hearts turned cold. Too terrifying. Who is Lin Fan? Who is he? Damn, what a bastard. Damn bastards. They actually destroyed the Yunlu branch. Damn it, search for them. Even if the sky and earth flip, find them for me. Gang leader was really angry. That angry voice was like a boiling fire, burning them until they were drenched in sweat, as if they could melt at any moment. The world was vast. Where was he going to find it? The frequent incidents actually made him forget about the precious treasure that the gang had lost. The higher-ups were terrified, and they all disappeared from the spot. They knew that the gang leader was angry, and no one could escape. They were furious. Of all the people you could have provoked, you just had to provoke our gang leader and even drag us into this. You're really despicable. Early morning, Zhou Zhongmao drove the carriage and Lin Fan and Feng Poliu sat behind. Young Master Lin, our target is too obvious and we can't stop. We have to leave 9 Bug Gang's territory. Feng Poliu muttered that along the way. When he passed by the city, Lin Fan didn't want to panic. He wanted to find a place to rest and wait for daybreak before leaving. But Feng Poliu couldn't. He had to rush through the night, as if he was afraid that people would notice him. Stop talking from last night till now. You have said it hundreds of times. You might not be annoyed, but I am. Lin Fan was helpless. He really wanted to toss this fellow off the carriage. Feng Poliu said, I am just reminding you, I don't mean anything else. Moreover, how did I say it so many times? It was just a few times. Truthfully, he had huge gains this time. These were all treasures, and it was hard to estimate. Not all of them were silver, but there were many gems and other precious things. As for how much they were worth, he had to hire a professional to calculate them. Lin Fan placed his hands at the back of his head and leaned against the chest. He was really relaxed and looked at Fuzhou, which he couldn't see at all. I will return. He went to Fuzhou and personally experienced 9 bug gang situation. They weren't something he could deal with now, but he could still cause some problems for them. Perhaps they were now stamping with rage, so angry that they wished they could beat him to death. Just thinking about it made him a little excited. Who asked you to fight with me? If I wasn't slightly weaker, why would I play with you until now? I would have killed all of you long ago. Feng Poliu glanced and noticed that this kid's smile was a little smug. Who knew what he was thinking about? Feng Poliu, did you really kill your master? Lin Fan asked. Damn, weren't you thinking about something? Why did you push the blame to me? He recognized the wrong person. Feng Poliu said. Lin Fan said, I don't think that I recognize the wrong person. You are indeed from Insect Valley. Otherwise, how would you have the bug controlling technique? Did you kill your master for it? Actually, it isn't a big deal. It is normal for young people to do things. As long as you repent, it is okay. Although I will look down on you, I won't look down on you. Feng Poliu turned around and turned his face to the side. He didn't want to speak to Lin Fan anymore. At that moment, several people struck from the distance. They rode horses and wore the same attire. They didn't recognize what Lin Fan and the others were wearing, but they all carried swords on their backs. When these people passed Lin Fan, they just took a curious look. They didn't stop and just left right away. Sword Palace people. Feng Poliu looked on and was confused. Why would Sword Palace disciples appear here? After all, Sword Palace was 108,000 miles away from here. It wasn't really that far. It was just an example. You know them? Lin Fan asked. Feng Poliu said, I don't, I just know them. Sword Palace is a really strong sect, but it is really weird. Why are there so many disciples from large sects? Did something happen? Who cares? Anyway, it has nothing to do with us. Lin Fan looked at the sky like he was in a daze. His cultivation was already at Master Realm. Although he wasn't at the peak, he wasn't weak either. He wanted to get some top cultivation techniques. Actually, the simplest way was to return to U City to find his father. With his foundations, he definitely had many. But he still wanted to rely on his own ability to get what he wanted. Once his strength increased, he would return to give his father a surprise. Feng Poliu, do you know where to get top heart cultivation or physique-raising techniques? Lin Fan asked. Fuzhou has them. Feng Poliu said, but you can't go back. You are just asking to die. If you really want, you can head to Rong City. Rong City has a market. Although it can't compare to Fuzhou, there are top cultivation techniques there, as long as you have enough silver. Rong City? Lin Fan thought about it. He thought about Li Zhixiu and said, okay, then let's not head back. Let's head to Rong City first. Can you stop with this and that? Why do you need so many top-notch cultivation techniques? Given your current situation, it seems like you've already cultivated quite a few of them. Feng Poliu didn't understand. So many top cultivation techniques were useless. There was a limit to one's strength. Who would cultivate so many? You don't need to care, Lin Fan replied. Then he sighed. Can I tell you that my cultivation technique isn't enough anymore? The small support system was really strong, but the drawbacks slowly appeared. That was that he couldn't rely on one cultivation technique to forcefully reach a higher realm. Other people could cultivate a cultivation technique to the peak, spending years or even decades to accumulate internal strength to a certain level and then reach a higher realm. After he raised a top cultivation technique to the peak, even if he cultivated slowly, his internal strength wouldn't increase. So he needed more cultivation techniques to strengthen his body. Feng Poliu didn't understand what young Master Lin was thinking, but he didn't say much. Since he wanted to head to Rong City, then he would. Rong City wasn't far from here, but it wasn't close either. It would take at least 5 days to get there. During this period of time, 9-Bug Gang didn't stop searching for Lin Fan, but they didn't find anything. The portrait was too narrow, and it was too difficult to recognize a person based on the portrait. Thus, during this period of time, 9-Bug Gang members were covered in darkness. Every day, people died. It wasn't the gang leader who did it, but those higher-ups who were under huge pressure and needed to vent out. They flipped hundreds of miles of land and searched, but there were no signs of him. It was like he had evaporated from the world and was nowhere to be found. After several days of rushing, they finally arrived at Rong City. I do have someone familiar here. Lin Fan smiled. Feng Poliu said helplessly, I do too, but she isn't friendly to me. The person you're talking about is the gambling den, right? The person I'm talking about is the daughter of the Li family, who my father almost wanted to be my wife. Although she knew that she wasn't good enough for me and left the Lin family, I am still familiar with her. Could he not do that? What Feng Poliu hated the most in his life was people bragging. He had no choice. This young Master Lin kept on bragging, and he was about to explode. Feng Poliu said, Young Master Lin, didn't you want to buy cultivation techniques? Then let's go find someone. Such a situation usually requires someone to pull strings. Okay, then let's go. Lin Fan said. On the way to find a contact person, he found out from Feng Poliu that the markets were supported by many rich families and strong sections. As for one person holding one, that was impossible. After all, no one had such ability. He followed Feng Poliu to a gambling den. Lin Fan looked at Feng Poliu. Do you want to go in and gamble? No, the person who pulled the strings is inside. Wait for me outside. I'll be right out. Feng Poliu said and walked in. When he reached the door, he turned his head and said, Why don't you lend me some? I want to play. No. Lin Fan rejected right away. Feng Poliu sighed. He didn't cherish such a good chance to help him. Do you really have to wait until I'm rich to add flowers to the brocade? Chapter 205. You didn't come at the right time. You have to wait until tomorrow night. Lin Fan looked at the person that Feng Poliu said was the middleman. There was nothing special about him. He was just a normal person. If he was tossed into a crowd, he would be useless. But such a person was actually the middleman. One had to say that he made people look up to him. Such a normal person didn't attract attention at all. Only people who did big things would do that. Lin Fan's thoughts were in his head, so he could think whatever he wanted. Okay, we will come here tomorrow night to find you. Feng Poliu said. He hadn't participated in the Rong City market, but he had participated in other places. It was basically the same. There was no difference. The middleman took a look at Lin Fan and didn't say anything. He just entered the gambling den. Young Master Lin, we can come tomorrow night. Now I need to find a place to rest. Feng Poliu said. Lin Fan was a little curious about the market tomorrow night. Who knew what it would be like? He said, Okay, let's find an inn to rest for a while. Young Master Lin, didn't you say that Rong City's Li family little miss nearly became your wife? Even if we aren't fated, at least our relationship is. Why not head to the Li family? Feng Poliu wanted to expose Lin Fan. Lin Fan squinted and looked at Feng Poliu. This fellow was a little dishonest. Did he want to see whether or not what he said was true? If that was the case, then he would be disappointed, although he was bragging. But it was true. Okay, then let's go to the Li family. They are familiar. Lin Fan smiled. He didn't believe that the Li family wouldn't let him stay. He had to do what he bragged about. If Feng Poliu looked down on him, then where would he have any face? Outside the Li manor. The manor door was open, and there were 2 guards guarding. Zhou Zhongmao walked forwards and was stopped by the guard. He told the guard that Yu City Lin family young master was here and quickly went to report. The guard heard that his little miss was going to marry into the Yu City Lin family. Although he didn't remember clearly, it seemed like such a thing happened. He immediately went to report. However, when he turned his head, he saw Old Master and Wang family young master walk over. Old Master Li, I can consider this matter. Wang Yunfei said politely. He had a smile on his face. Since he returned from Yu City, he felt that his body wasn't right. It seemed like he was frightened by the Hongxiu Pavilion, and that thing couldn't get hard. This was a very terrifying thing. Wang Yunfei was naturally scared out of his wits. As the young master of the Wang clan, he had to carry on the family line. If he was crippled just like that, it would be terrible. Therefore, he naturally looked for a famous doctor. The famous doctor told him that he had suffered a serious shock, causing him to blah blah blah. In any case, he did not understand. The only thing he understood was that there was no cure for him at the moment, and he had to wait. He was frightened in Yu City because he wanted to know who did it, but he never found it. Okay. Old Masterly smiled. He didn't agree to Wang Yunfei's suggestion. Master, someone is waiting for you outside, the guard said. Old Masterly was confused. Who was waiting for him? When he reached the door and saw the figure outside, his heart skipped a beat. Oh my God, why is he here? At first glance, he had already recognized who the other party was. Lin family's young Master Lin Fan. Wasn't he living well in Yu City? Why did he come to Chengdu? In the blink of an eye, Old Masterly thought of many possibilities. For example, Lin family was wiped out by King Wudong and nephew Lin came to join him. But that was impossible. Very quickly, he tossed such thoughts to the back of his head. Was he here to propose? Even if he brought her back to Rong City, he still thought about her, which was why he personally came to propose. Looking at the carriage filled with boxes, that was really possible. Nephew Lin. Old Master Li's face was filled with smiles as he welcomed him. Lin Fan smiled and looked at Feng Poliu like he was saying that he wasn't bragging to him. Uncle Li, it has been a long time since we parted ways in Yu City. Lin Fan cupped his fists and said. Then, when he saw Wang Yunfei, he recognized him with a single look. Aren't you that young Master Wang who came to Yu City to visit brothels? Lin Fan exclaimed, directly exposing his background. Rage points plus 99. Wang Yunfei had completely forgotten about Lin Fan. But when he heard the words of the other party, he was stunned. What did those words mean? It was a little annoying. Kiki, who is this? Have we met before? Wang Yunfei scoffed and asked. His gaze was a little off, like he was asking what the heck were you saying? Why did his words make him feel so annoyed? Old Masterly looked at Wang Yunfei. He hated brothels the most. Who knew that Wang Yunfei not only visited Rong City, but he even went to Yu City? What a joke. Young Master Wang, you are so forgetful. Didn't you have a good time with Yuan Tianchu? He directly brought you to the most popular brothel in Yu City, Hongxiu Pavilion. How did you forget? Lin Fan smiled. Rage points plus 199. A decent amount of rage points. Although it wasn't much, to be able to increase, it was a form of improvement. Damn, can't you shut the F***CK up? Wang Yunfei was furious. Did this fellow know how to speak, or was he so ignorant to casually say such things? He really wanted to shut his mouth. Hee, you got the wrong person. You must have got the wrong person. Wang Yunfei, never go to these brothels. Wang Yunfei waved his hands and cupped his fists. Old Masterly, you have a guest here, so I won't disturb you. Goodbye. The moment he said that, Wang Yunfei left without turning his head. Even if Lin Fan shouted from behind, he didn't care and didn't react at all. In his heart, he cursed Lin Fan's entire family 10,000 times. If Lin Fan knew, he would definitely shout, Father, someone wants to do you, kid, you know him? Old Masterly smiled and asked. Right, there is no reason. The last time he came to Yu City, young Master Yuan welcomed him. He even went to the most famous Hongxiu Pavilion to play for a night. So, how could I not know him? Lin Fan shook his head and felt a little regretful. Old Masterly believed Lin Fan's words. If he hadn't been there, then there was no need for Wang Yunfei to run so quickly. Now that things had passed, Old Masterly just remembered it in his heart and didn't say much more. Kid, come in, don't stand at the door. Old Masterly said. Lin Fan told cousin to arrange the carriage. These riches were really important, and if they were lost, he wouldn't even be able to cry. Back courtyard. Suilon ran in a panic. Little miss, not good. Something happened. That fellow chased us here. Li Jishio was training. She had returned home for over a month and trained every day. Seeing Suilan run over in panic, she stopped. What happened? Who came? Suilan's face turned red, and she said in fear, "It is you City Lin family young master. He is here with old master." When she mentioned Lin Fan, Suilan's heart jumped. She was really frightened. To her, you City Lin family young master was really terrifying and loved to torture people. He was also someone who killed mercilessly. She personally witnessed it and was so terrified that she nearly peed her pants. Li Jixio's expression changed slightly. In her mind, scenes that she didn't dare to imagine appeared. Lin Fan's cruel and violent actions didn't scare her at all. Actually, what she was most afraid of was that when night fell, she would fall unconscious for no reason. When she opened her eyes the next day, he would be lying beside her. That was something that Li Jixio couldn't imagine. This was why when her father and mother came to the Lin family, she had thoughts of retreating. Living room. Kid, since you came to Rong City to do something, then you can stay here for the night. Old Masterly said. He had already asked and found out that the kid didn't come to Rong City to ask for marriage. He was just passing by. Although he heaved a sigh of relief, for some reason, he felt a little regretful. Thank you, uncle. I won't stand on ceremony. Lin Fan smiled, and then looked towards Feng Poliu. Did you see that? Did you think I lied to you? What I said was true. Feng Poliu looked at Lin Fan. He didn't get to the main point. Forget it. You are amazing. You can act cool. I won't compete with you. Originally, Lin Fan didn't want to come to the Li family, but looking at Feng Poliu's disbelieving gaze, he felt really uncomfortable. He could tell anyone loudly. Do you believe that I, Lin Fan, have never said a single word that I, Lin Fan, am bragging? Don't believe it? Good. He immediately brought Feng Poliu to the Li family to prove it. When Wang Yunfei returned to the manor, his face was dark and sunken. He was really unhappy. The servants around saw that young master's expression was so ugly, so they didn't dare to say anything. They all retreated far away. Then, Wang Yunfei waved his hands, and a servant ran over. Go find some experts for me. Yes, young master. The servant replied, and then left. He knew that someone was going to be unlucky in young master's hands. Wang Yunfei recognized who Lin Fan was. Yu City young master Lin. When he went to Yu City, Yuan Tianchu welcomed him. Yuan Tianchu had conflicts with this fellow and even made Wang Yunfei furious. He even said it directly. If such a fellow dared to come to Rong City, he would teach him a lesson. Now that he came, he even said that he went to a brothel in front of old Master Li. Who could take that? If he didn't teach him a lesson, he would think that he was easy to bully. Li Manor. Lin Fan and the others were arranged in the third-row courtyard. They bumped into Suilan, who was carrying a basin. She screamed like she had seen a ghost, turning around and running. Lin Fan was stunned. Who was it? I don't even know you, so your actions are a little exaggerated. The next night, Lin Fan brought cousin and Feng Poliu to the Li Manor. Young Master Lin, we brought a carriage of treasures. Isn't that a little too obvious? Are we purposely inviting people to commit crimes? Feng Poliu felt that something wasn't right. We might have a fight tonight. If we don't bring it, we won't have any confidence. Lin Fan said. Anyway, the riches didn't belong to him. Buying some martial path cultivation techniques was a good choice. Chapter 206. It was already past midnight. There was no one on the streets. Feng Poliu, isn't it a loss to use these secret techniques to exchange for money a little? Lin Fan asked. Feng Poliu said, to me, it is indeed a loss, but to others, it might not be a loss. Although martial path techniques are important, more important is wealth. Humans die for wealth, birds die for food. That is the unchanging logic. Dang dang. Not far away, there was the sound of metal rubbing. Several shadows flashed across the alley. From the shadows, one could see that they were assassins with blades. Damn, they finally came out. They waited for Li family for 2 full days. How vicious. Young Master Wang's money isn't easy to earn. Brothers, remember this and teach him a lesson. Cousin, I smell a very weak killing intent. Zhou Zhongmao, stopped moving forward, and stared at the dark alley not far away. Oh, Lin Fan didn't care. He sensed that these people weren't strong, probably grade 2 or 3, who wanted to take revenge on him. Or did they just want to earn a living? Very quickly, 6 masked men in black shirts appeared on the streets with blades in their hands. They blocked Lin Fan and the others. They gave off a cold aura filled with killing intent. A battle was about to begin. Zhou Zhongmao frowned and jumped up. He jumped off the carriage and landed on the ground. With a cautious sound, cracks appeared on the ground. He shouted in rage, "Are you asking to die?" Their mouths were agape. The 6 men in black shirts looked at the cracked bricks beneath their feet. Their bodies shook and they felt that something wasn't right. Quang dang. Their blades fell to the ground. "Hero, please spare us. We're just trying to earn a living." The 6 of them knelt on the ground, burying their heads in the ground. They shivered and knelt down to him. They were just trying to earn a living. They had eyes and knowledge. He leapt up, and when he landed, the ground cracked. Was that something they could do? Zhong Mao didn't care whether or not they were just trying to earn a living. He was about to attack. "Cousin, it isn't easy to earn a living. Forget it," Lin Fan said. Zhong Mao glanced. "You are lucky." When the carriage passed by, the 6 of them immediately stood at the side. "Thank you for not killing us, great hero. Have a safe journey, great hero." Until he couldn't see it anymore. "Big brother, it was so dangerous. I almost lost my life." "Yeah, I felt a strong killing intent enveloping me just now. If we had knelt any slower, we would definitely be lying here." "What about young Master Wang?" "What young Master Wang? Can't you see how strong he is? Hurry up and leave. With my many years of experience, don't get involved in this matter. Retreat." "Young Master Lin, your situation isn't right. Why are people finding trouble with you everywhere you go?" Feng Poliu sighed. "People like that wouldn't have a good life in the future." Lin Fan smiled. "Those who don't attract jealousy are mediocre. Wherever I go, people find trouble with me. That can only mean that they are jealous." F***CK. Feng Poliu felt that he was really dumb, asking such useless questions. It was easy for him to act cool. He really regretted it. The person who knew how to brag the most in his life was young Master Lin in front of him. He met the middleman at the gambling den. "Follow me. Don't make a sound no matter what you see," the middleman said, after which he was in charge of driving the carriage. Walking around the city, turning left and right, he didn't know where he was going. Gradually, fog appeared around him. This fog was originally only floating under his feet, but as time passed, it gradually covered him. Other than being able to see the people around him, the surrounding environment was a vast expanse of whiteness. He couldn't see anything else. Lin Fan felt that it was really magical. Maybe this wasn't something that Martial Path could do. "We are here," the middleman said. Who knew when, but there was actually a huge residence in front of them. "Don't worry, no one will cause trouble here. Even if you meet enemies, it is okay, as no one dares to attack here." The middleman explained the situation here. This wasn't the first time Feng Poliu came here, so he was used to it. So amazing. Lin Fan was really interested in this place. Feng Poliu said, "That is indeed the case. Until now, not many people dare to cause trouble here." Then our things. Lin Fan was still thinking about how to settle the accounts. After all, these few chests of treasures couldn't be carried in. "Young Master Lin, it is okay. Just leave it outside. Once you pick something, someone will follow us out to get money. Moreover, leave the items here and there will be people guarding it. Nothing will happen." Feng Poliu said. Even such an experienced person like Feng Poliu said that, so it was obviously true. "Cousin, you all enter. I will watch here," Zhou Zhongmao said. Lin Fan nodded his head. It was safe for cousin to guard here. He pushed the door open. Instantly, there was a lot of noise from within. The room was really wide. Lights were hung high. People walked to and fro. There were many stalls all around, and many people were looking at them. "Young Master Lin, the rules here are very simple. You can only look at the classification. You can't touch it, and you can't touch it either. There are 2 types of manuals here. One is unique, and the other is the duplicate. Unique means that after you buy it, there won't be a second copy for sale. Duplicate means that after you buy it, others can also buy it. Therefore, you're not the only one who knows this martial art manual, so the price difference between the two is like heaven and earth. Feng Poliu introduced the situation here to Lin Fan. Based on his estimation, just the flow of wealth here was an astronomical figure. Although he knew that this market was created by a few aristocratic families and sects, he didn't know which powers were involved. It had always been a mystery. Lin Fan wanted to casually flip through it and imprint it in the small support system. Now, it seemed like that was impossible. They definitely didn't know that he had the small support system, but they were afraid of meeting people with photographic memory. The people who bought things here all had strong internal strength. However, he didn't see any in Rome City. Maybe they rushed over at this time. He came to a stall. There was a list on the stall. 12 secret techniques. Master realm techniques. At the same time, it was split into heart cultivation, cultivation techniques, and external cultivation techniques. Then, there was the introduction of the cultivation technique and also the price. So expensive. A cultivation technique within the 12th stage of the martial path actually cost 100,000 silvers. Some of the stronger ones cost 200,000 silvers. That was way too King ruthless. It made him want to sell his secret manuals. If I sell them here, will I be able to sell them? Lin Fan asked. Feng Poliu rolled his eyes. Don't think about it. That is impossible. Do you think that anyone can sell them? Even if you dare to sell them, others might not dare to buy them. There were many fake ones on the market, and it was normal for the real ones to be mixed in. These are all duplicates. Some cultivation techniques don't sell duplicates. They are only sold once. You can take a look and don't worry. Feng Poliu said. Lin Fan slowly understood the situation. Those secret manuals that were only sold once were all top secret manuals. Master realm techniques were expensive. Grandmaster techniques were so expensive that one wouldn't dare to believe their own eyes. Young Master Lin, don't think that they are expensive. Each one is the hard work of numerous experts. Techniques created by true experts are worth cities and can cause a bloodbath in the world. Feng Poliu said. Insect Valley's bug controlling technique. How much is it worth? Lin Fan asked. Feng Poliu laughed. If you dare to sell it, no one will dare to buy it. That was absolute confidence. The techniques sold here are from some large sections. They need money to sell them. If any sect finds out that someone is selling their techniques without their permission, then they can forget about living in peace. They will definitely fight to the death. Feng Poliu explained the risks and some rules to Lin Fan. Lin Fan didn't care. Fight to the death. That only meant that he wasn't strong enough. If he was strong enough, then he would just wipe them out. No one would dare to say any nonsense. He continued to search for a suitable cultivation technique for himself. He needed some heart cultivation and external body training techniques. He didn't need any cultivation techniques now. Mixed energy broken jade hand hadn't improved, so where would he get so many rage points? With the current situation, master-level techniques were what he needed the most. It would be even better if he had grandmaster techniques. However, the price was unimaginable. Not only did this place sell techniques, but there were also many pills and treasures. That thing was useless to him. What dragon beard grass, yin yang great return pill, heaven and earth energy pill. No matter how strong they were, he didn't need them. Slowly, his brows furrowed. He was really engrossed and didn't miss out on the introduction of any technique. At that moment, he stopped in front of a stall. An external body training technique attracted his attention. Barbarian Saint Battle Technique, Master Realm Technique. 180 years ago, Barbarian Saint failed to break through to Grandmaster Realm. He summarized his martial path experience and left the Barbarian Saint Battle Technique. Zhou cultivated this technique, and a year ago, he was killed by others on the snow mountain. Effect: initial training will strengthen vital energy. Barbarian blood will boil and strengthen one's body. When trained to large success, the Barbarian aura will spread 1,000 meters. Vital energy like a dragon charging into the sky. forming a barbarian tattoo. The effect is really special, best for solo and group battles. He didn't expect that the introduction here would be so detailed, even knowing when the person died. Amazing, really amazing. It was just that the price, 2 million taels of silver, was too *king expensive. He suddenly realized that the 300,000 silver he'd painstakingly earned some time ago wasn't even enough to buy a single secret manual, and it was truly unacceptable. The stall owner said, "Young hero, barbaric saint battle technique is not bad. If it wasn't for it being an external technique, the price wouldn't be 2 million silver. Although it is hard to cultivate, this external technique isn't limited to Master Realm. Even Grandmaster Realm people can continue to cultivate it." Suddenly, a voice spread out from the side. "This technique," Lin Fan raised his hand. "Don't bother, I like this external technique, I will buy it." Chapter 207. After Lin Fan said such domineering words, everyone was stunned. His voice instantly disappeared. He didn't expect such a place to have such people. Feng Poliu looked at the introduction of the cultivation technique, and his head felt like it was about to explode. "Actually, you can wait. This technique might not be that good for you. You can look at others, and maybe you will have a new choice." Lin Fan said, "If I look at too much, it will affect my judgment. This external cultivation technique is not bad. It is what I need." It was just that 2 million taels of silver was really *king expensive. So expensive that his heart turned cold. Luckily, this wealth wasn't his and came easily. However, this was the first time he spent so much. The stall owner was a middle-aged fatty. When he smiled, his eyes became aligned. "This young hero has a good attitude. His future is limitless. Young hero, please take this token. After this ends, someone will be waiting for you at the entrance." Lin Fan looked at the token in his hand. There was nothing special about it. There was a mark on it which should be related to this technique. He had obtained an external cultivation technique and had some gains. However, he didn't understand. Techniques were just too expensive now, so expensive that it was a little scary. After all, it was just a Master Realm technique. If someone heard that, they would smash his head. Hearing his tone, why did it sound like Master Realm was so normal? Zhou Zhongmao was talented and was one of the top. He cultivated for decades and only reached grade 9. Recently, he had improved and was about to break through. If he cultivated like that, he would need several years to reach Master Realm. Even if Lin Wani opened up all his meridians, he would need a year. Lin Fan thought about it. With his own situation, Purple Sun Force Saint Scripture and Demon Heart Enforcing Scripture weren't low grade. They were Master Realm techniques. Even if he didn't cultivate other heart cultivation techniques, it was enough to reach peak master. Maybe when Father gave him these techniques, he was thinking about it. Whether or not he could reach Master Realm was a problem. Let's just leave it at that. "How much silver do you think our carriage of treasures is worth?" Lin Fan asked. If he didn't have enough silver in the end, that would be a huge problem. "Wait for me." After Feng Poliu thought about it, he left hurriedly. After a period of time, he came back and whispered into Lin Fan's ear, "I showed it to them. They're roughly 7 million. Lin Fan knew that it was indeed a huge sum of money. Then, he went to another stall to continue looking at secret manuals. Xiao Chun had no interest in the secret manuals of great Grandmaster level, Martial Grandmaster level masters. None of them were lower than 5 million silver taels. As for secret manuals of great Grandmaster level masters and above, he did not see any. In Feng Poliu's words, Grandmaster and above techniques weren't something that could be measured by money. If one wanted to obtain secret manuals above the great Grandmaster level, one would have to use real treasures to exchange for them. Moreover, Chengdu did not have the qualifications to sell secret manuals of great Grandmaster and above. Forget it. Don't think about such distant things. It was better to work hard to raise his cultivation to peak master and then step into Grandmaster. At that time, he wouldn't need to buy techniques anymore. He could just find a random faction to snatch and take them. Then, he wouldn't have any burden at all. Not long later, He was interested in an external cultivation technique, nine heavens lightning drawing technique. When he saw the name, he thought that it was a celestial technique. Now that he looked at the introduction, it was another technique that was a little hard to cultivate. This technique was a little more expensive than barbaric saint battle technique. It needed 3 million silver. Moreover, there was only one copy. He realized that the market was such a scam. Although there were some copies of Master Realm techniques, they didn't look like much and didn't have anything special about them. To such an eye-catching and special person like him, techniques that weren't special were trash. Buying 2 techniques, and he didn't have 5 million silver. How terrifying. External cultivation was enough. He wanted to use the remaining silver to buy some pills for Cousin, to let Cousin feel the joy of his strength soaring. When he looked at these things, he noticed that the people around all chose suitable items for themselves. They were also really generous. Oh my God, do you think everyone here is so rich? Lin Fan asked. He really didn't dare to imagine. When he had 300,000 silver, he felt like he was rich. After coming here to take a look, he realized that he was really poor. Even his hands felt a little itchy. Yes, actually, the people who come here don't just buy for themselves. Among this group of people, there are many figures of the higher-ups of the sections. They come here to buy secret manuals in order to fill up the secret manuals library of the sections. There are more secret manuals for the disciples to choose from. So, if you want to become stronger, it is very necessary to join a powerful sect. Otherwise, if you want to become strong by yourself, there is basically no hope. Techniques aren't cabbages and can't be found everywhere. Some people are talented, but if they don't join a strong sect or aristocratic family, they won't be able to find suitable techniques. Their cultivation will be stuck there, and they might not be able to break through for the rest of their lives. As for those who don't have any power to back them up, if they want to become a peak expert, out of 1 million, there might not be one. Feng Poliu came out from Insect Valley, and his knowledge was really terrifying. After all, he stood at a high position, so naturally he could see more things. Lin Fan nodded his head. Those words made sense. At the same time, it allowed him to understand something. No wonder he didn't pick up any techniques after beating so many people to death. Were the major forces so strict with their control over secret manuals now? Lin Fan asked. Does my father have a backer? Feng Polio wanted to say something, but he kept quiet. Did this fellow want to act cool in front of him? He could tell him that it was impossible. He definitely wouldn't give him such a chance. As for his father, he was just 1 out of 1 million. Why? Lin Fan saw that Feng Polio didn't speak, so he patted his shoulder and asked, Nothing. I'm not familiar with your father, so I won't comment much. Feng Polio said. At that moment, there was a loud noise coming from the front. It sounded like someone was arguing, and it caused quite a commotion in the house, which was not very noisy yet. Are you blind? Do you know who I am? You dare to snatch this thing from me? The one who spoke was a young man. He wore beautiful clothes and looked really handsome. But at this moment, he was really arrogant. His eyes were filled with a sense of superiority. Kid, don't be too arrogant. The person that the young man scolded was a middle-aged man. He felt like he had lost face and replied in rage. Kiki, arrogant. So what if I am arrogant? Even the various powers behind me have to give my family some face. Who do you think you are? The young man raised his head and looked at the middle-aged man in disdain. He then said, If you don't believe me, you can try. He was young and energetic. His aura was shocking. He actually suppressed the middle-aged man. Who are you? The middle-aged man asked coldly. The young man laughed in disdain. Zhao family ninth son, Zhao Buffon. The middle-aged man's expression changed from rage to shock. His face turned red as he lowered his head and left. It was obvious that Zhao family's name shocked him. What is the background of this Zhao family? Didn't you say that people aren't allowed to cause trouble here? Why is he fine? Lin Fan asked. Feng Poliu felt like he was being slapped in the face. This is the Imperial Dynasty Zhao family young master. Their family is really strong and can be considered giant. We can't offend them. Feng Poliu said softly. Zhao Buffon smiled coldly and looked around. I passed by Rome City and came to take a look since I had nothing to do. Recently, I lack experts by my side. Who here is willing to follow me back to Zhao family? Of course, trash below master don't come. I only need experts. Lin Fan was impressed by how arrogant he was. It would be a miracle if he wasn't beaten to death by someone right now. But one had to say that. The people around wanted to attack, but when they heard that it was the Imperial Dynasty Zhao family, their expressions changed. They lowered their heads and talked to one another. Young Master Zhao, I am Qin Tai, Initial Master. I am willing to follow by your side and work for you. A bearded man walked out and said. Lin Fan muttered softly, Does he have no pride? Feng Poliu said, This isn't about pride, but the fastest way to get close to an aristocratic family. In my opinion, Zhao Bufan isn't well-liked in Zhao family. But even then, to outsiders, it is a chance for him to become a phoenix. Life isn't fair. The rules here are useful to others, but to the true aristocratic families, as long as one doesn't go overboard, they will close one eye. Zhao Bufan is the 9th son of Zhao family. Although he doesn't look like much with his family background, not everyone dares to offend him. Feng Poliu shook his head and sighed. Young Master Lin was too dumb and didn't understand some things. However, he muttered in his heart, if Lin Wani didn't defend Yu City and went to the Imperial Dynasty, maybe young Master Lin's identity and status would change drastically. Zhao Bufan smiled and looked around. Who else? If you miss this chance, you won't have another chance. As long as you follow me, I will pay the bill tonight. Uproar. Many people were tempted. Many of them were thinking, damn, I already have a sect. Although I wanted to follow you, if I really followed you, I would be betraying my sect, and I would die a horrible death. Young Master Zhao, I am willing to work for you. Someone stepped out. It was obvious that he couldn't resist the temptation. What they longed for, to others, was within their reach. How domineering. Lin Fan wanted to shout that he would pay the bill tonight, but he didn't have the ability to do so. Young Master Lin, we have bought everything, so we should leave. Feng Poliu said. Lin Fan shook his head and smiled. Don't rush, we will wait. Feng Poliu found it weird. When he saw Lin Fan's fiery eyes staring at Zhao Bufan, his heart creaked. Was he thinking don't? His heart couldn't take it. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.